Chapter 261, You've Crossed the Line. Elj Cayman, having failed to invalidate the contract, was completely resigned, his spirit seemingly shattered. And then, Kona, take him as your subordinate, meow. Theo pointed at Elj Cayman and instructed Kona. Yes, Lord Theo, Peng, Peng, come here, Peng. Kona tried to show some seniority by stomping the ground with her feet and shouted threateningly at Elj Cayman. However, to be a subordinate of such a lowly creature. This thought made Elj Cayman feel even more miserable. He was furious. How could he, the third prince of the Cayman kingdom, become a subordinate to someone he was just extorting? Hannibal, uncle. Elj Cayman, as a last resort, looked at Hannibal for help, hoping to rise to a higher position than such a person with his uncle's assistance. But, cough. Hannibal turned away from Elj Cayman. I should have just stayed quiet instead of doing something weird. Hannibal was thinking of helping his nephew a bit, but after seeing Elj's petty actions, he decided not to interfere. What a disappointment, meow. This made Theo, who was about to get another good subordinate, pull out the contract in disappointment. Hannibal was almost dragged down to the abyss with Elj Cayman. Uncle. Elj Cayman, cut off even by the uncle he trusted, was about to give up everything when thump thump. Moo. The strongest being on the 99th floor of the tower, the Minotaur King, entered the wedding hall with massive footsteps. We greet the Minotaur King. The beings around kneeled and paid their respects to the Minotaur King. Then, thump thump. The Minotaur King, ignoring their greetings, hurriedly walked towards where Elj Cayman was. The Minotaur King has recognized me. Elj Cayman felt moved as he saw the Minotaur King approaching. King Croaker Cayman of the Cayman Kingdom had recently received a request from the Minotaur King to explore the 84th floor of the tower. Since there were rumors that those who refused the Minotaur King's requests no longer existed in the Black Tower, Croaker Cayman readily accepted the request. Furthermore, Croaker Cayman sent his 5 princes, including Elj, to guide the Minotaur King and serve him. The hope was to create a bond between at least one of the princes and the Minotaur King. Naturally, as the third prince, Elj Cayman was also a guide for the Minotaur King and had exchanged a few words with him. At that time, he resented his father for forcing him, but now it seemed like a way out of this situation. Thank you, father. As the Minotaur King approached him, Elj Cayman thanked his father in his heart. Shake, shake. Theo shook his head, seeing Elj Cayman thinking of escaping again. Such an unlucky guy, meow. He might even be unluckier than Urine, thinking of playing his worst hand again. I should tell Chairman Park, meow. With that thought, Theo looked at Sejun to tell him about Elj Cayman's other intentions. Sejun, who was already aware that Elj Cayman was up to something, chuckled sinisterly. He knew such tricks needed to be dealt with. It was like being trapped in Buddha's palm. Snap. Puhata. So Theo also hung onto Sejun's leg, eager to witness Elj Cayman's last struggle. In the meantime, we greet the Minotaur King. Thump thump. The Minotaur King, receiving the respects of the surrounding monsters, was gradually approaching. Hannibal, the chairman of the Mercenary Association, also bowed his head in respect. And then, long time no see, Minotaur King Nim. I am Elj Cayman, the third prince of the Cayman Kingdom, greeting the Minotaur King. Elj Cayman, trying to get help from the Minotaur King before Sejun could talk to him, greeted the Minotaur King loudly. At that moment, krung, bang, a baby bear who had been hanging onto the leg of the insignificant person and eating food brought by a golden bat, suddenly lunged at the Minotaur King and head-butted him. Everyone was frozen in shock at the sudden attack. Bang bang. The baby bear continued to attack the Minotaur King with its front paws, seemingly in a frenzy. The Minotaur King, however, remained unfazed by the baby bear's attacks. The impacts appeared to have no effect on him. Kahaha, you all are now doomed against the Minotaur King. Although Elj Cayman didn't understand why the baby bear was attacking the Minotaur King, he saw it as an opportunity for himself. The bear was attacking the Minotaur King on its own accord. Elj Cayman internally rejoiced at this situation that seemed too advantageous for him. And then, Minotaur King Nim, are you all right? These scoundrels, how dare they attack the strongest being of the Black Tower, the Minotaur King? Please be careful, Minotaur King Nim. They are very evil beings. Pretending to be concerned for the Minotaur King, Elj Cayman provided a pretext for the Minotaur King to attack Sejun and his group. His goal was to kill Sejun and invalidate the contract. Elj Cayman hoped to use the Minotaur King to carry out a murderous scheme against Sejun. The Minotaur King Nim, behind these people, there is an evil villain named Aileen Pratani. Since both names written in the contract had to die for it to be invalidated, Elj Cayman also mentioned Aileen's name. He intended to use the Minotaur King as a game changer to completely turn the tables. Cuckoo. Now, I just need to find Aileen Pratani. The contract hasn't been made long ago, so she must be nearby. Thus, Elj Cayman, not realizing he had crossed a line he shouldn't have, was elated at the thought of finding freedom. Kyungi, go and ask the Minotaur King to play with you. Krung. Understood. Following Sejun's instruction, Kyungi used telekinesis to charge toward the Minotaur King. To an outsider, it looked like a fight, but this was actually Kyungi and the Minotaur King's way of playing. Sejun thought this would make Elj Cayman act more rashly. Bang! Despite the massive explosion, the surrounding area was not greatly affected. The Minotaur King absorbed all the shock with his abs to prevent any harm to Sejun nearby. Krung. Uncle Minotaur King, have I become much stronger? Moo moo. Indeed, you're becoming a bit hard for me to handle now. Bang bang. Kyungi kept hitting the Minotaur King's abs, and the Minotaur King continued to absorb the impact. While the two were playing and chatting. Are you all right, Minotaur King Nim? These scoundrels, how dare they attack? As Sejun predicted, Elj Cayman acted out his plan. In his haste, Elj Cayman did not fully assess the situation between Kyungi and the Minotaur King, and simply pushed his own agenda. He would have been let off with just being Kona's subordinate for 100 years. The Minotaur King Nim, behind these people, there is an evil villain named Aileen Pratani. But he crossed the line by mentioning a name that should not have been uttered. How dare you bring up Aileen's name? What, a vile villain, you've crossed the line. Sejun, angered, glared at Elj Cayman and spoke. Line, you're the ones who crossed the line by attacking the Minotaur King. Aileen Pratani and all of you, it's the end for everyone now. Elj Cayman shouted arrogantly, completely oblivious to the actual situation and having utterly crossed the line. Hiss, how dare you mess with Aileen Unnai, I'll teach you a lesson, meow. As a result, Theo administered additional punishment. Smack. Elj Cayman, who was rapidly hit by Theo's right and left front paws, fainted again. One hit for daring to mention Aileen Unnai, and another for talking back to Chairman Park, meow. Theo, feeling proud after administering the punishment, looked down at Elj Cayman. Thump. And this one for making me, Vice Chairman Theo, take action, meow. Theo delivered one more blow to the back of the head of the unconscious Elj Cayman. Then, rustle. Theo began rummaging through the possessions of the unconscious Elj Cayman. Pew hut, Chairman Park, this guy has a lot of stuff, meow. Good, start by taking back the gifts. Got it, meow. Thus, Elj Cayman was completely stripped of his belongings by Theo, leaving him penniless. Compared to the hard life he was about to face, this was a minor misfortune. 99th floor of the Purple Tower. Bika, how's the acquisition of the Black Tower's land deeds going? Well, we had secured 30, but after the 80th floor was attacked, most of them were lost, and now we only have 5 left. What an attack, who would dare? We were attacked by a white dragon. What? The 80th floor was where personnel, equipment, and facilities dedicated to diverting the Black Tower's land deeds, were concentrated. If it had been the Black Dragon, it would have been understandable, but a White Dragon. There had been absolutely no involvement with a White Dragon. Because from now on, call back all personnel dispatched to other towers and focus them on securing the Black Tower's land deeds. Yes. Tyr Peton decided to put off dealing with the White Dragon and concentrate all efforts on securing the Black Tower's land deeds. The Black Tower comes first. If more than half of the Black Tower's land deeds were secured, the ownership of the Black Tower would be usurped, making the tower farmer theirs. Then the crops grown by the tower's farmer, including the beans Kaiser had eaten, would also belong to him. Because from now on, you start cultivating crops. Tyr Peton wanted to obtain other crops as well, so he instructed his tower's farmer to begin farming. But Bika was taken aback by Tyr's instruction, as her main task until now had been securing land deeds from other towers, not farming. Yes, cultivate crops that can even affect dragons. Crops that can affect dragons, are there even such crops? There are, the Black Tower's farmer has cultivated them, so you two figure out a way to do it too. Tyr Peton, recalling his moment of powerlessness when Kaiser easily defeated Halfas, shouted in anger. Okay. Thus, Veronica, the Dark Elf Tower farmer of the Purple Tower, began her farming. TL. It seems the real full name of the Purple Tower farmer is Veronica Kopetonica Enus, but so far the short name used has been Kopeka Enus, which is translated as Bika or Becca. Therefore, I will continue using Bika where the short name is used and use Veronica where the full name is used. However, why aren't they growing? Finding crops that could grow in poison land was the first challenge. Are these the gifts you guys lost? Quiek, Ook, Doodle. About 20 animals lined up in front of Sejun, responding to his question. He had taken quite a lot from them. Here, take these. While Sejun was distributing the gifts back to the animal who had it stolen by Elj. Thump thump. Moo. Sejun Nim, you arrived early. The Minotaur King, having had enough playtime with Kyungi, approached Sejun to greet him. Yeah, you must be tired from playing with Kyungi. Moo moo. Not at all, it was good training for me too. To think that the Minotaur King regarded being headbutted by Kyungi as training. He truly was the strongest on the 99th floor of the tower. However, throb. The Minotaur King's skin was black, so it wasn't visible to Sejun's eyes, but his entire abdomen was severely bruised. While Sejun was talking with Minotaur King. Meow, there's one more item but I'm not sure how to get it out, meow. Theo was deep in thought, looking at the solar plexus of the unconscious Elj Cayman. He felt a pull from the solar plexus, but there was no way to extract it. Then, Dedada. Krung. Big brother, what are you doing? Is there something fun? Kyungi, having relieved his stress by playing with the Minotaur King, excitedly ran towards Theo. But then, press. Kyungi, not seeing Elj lying on the ground, stepped hard on his stomach. Gurgle. The pressure on the stomach forced out a black bead from the solar plexus, and Elj spat out a black bead. Snatch. Hut, good job Kyungi, meow. Theo caught the floating bead and praised Kyungi. Krung. Did Kyungi do well? Yes, meow. Kyungi, let's race to see who can reach Chairman Park first, meow. With no more business with Elj, Theo shouted and sprinted towards Sejun. Krung. Understood, Kyungi won't lose. Excited that Theo was playing with him, Kyungi also hurriedly ran towards Sejun. After Theo and Kyungi left. Slap. Pang, subordinate wake up pang. Kona, having unfinished business with Elj, woke him up by slapping his cheek with her short wings. Ouch, that hurts. Elj in pain regained consciousness. And then, pang, I hurt him with my slap. Why does it hurt when she slaps me? Both realized something was odd. Then, Elge felt something was wrong with his solar plexus. It should have felt heavy, but now it felt eerily empty. My core. What Theo had taken earlier was Elge's core. Pang pang, subordinate come quickly pang. In the meantime, Kona, realizing she didn't need to be afraid anymore, started to drag Elge along. Chairman Park, look at this, meow. Vice Chairman Theo and Kyungi found this, meow. As Elge was being dragged away by Kona, he saw Theo handing over his core to Sejun. Wait, no, stop. Elge shouted, trying to stop Sejun from taking his core, but his voice was drowned out by the fanfare signaling the start of the wedding ceremony. Despite the chaos, fortunately, everything was peacefully resolved before the wedding ceremony. Chapter 262, Have We Met Before? Bam 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 tilde bam 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 tilde. With the musicians' performance, music filled the wedding hall, creating an atmosphere befitting a wedding. Prominent guests from powerful factions began to enter one by one. During this time, at the wedding hall, surrounded by animals including the Minotaur King and Ulrich, Sejun was examining the black bead given to him by Theo. Cayman royal family's inner core. Right arrow, this is a core created through a magical cultivation method, passed down only among the Cayman royal family. Right arrow, a significant amount of magic within the inner core was dispersed due to its forced extraction. Right arrow, the core contains approximately 100 years worth of accumulated magic power. Right arrow, upon consumption, it grants a total of 100 bonus stats. If consumed by a being with magic power less than 100, the inner core will absorb all of their stats instead. Right arrow usage restriction, LV, 50 and above, magic power 100 and above. Right arrow grade, S. While Sejun was examining the inner core. Pew Hugh Hut, how do you like the bead I found, meow? Kueheb Krung. Hehe, Dad, Kyungi stepped on it and out popped the bead. Theo and Kyungi, with their bellies out and front paws on their waists, boasted proudly and laughed. That's great, good job. Sejun put the inner core in his pocket for now and stretched out his arms to embrace the proud Theo and Kyungi. He decided to think about what to do with the core after the wedding ceremony. The wedding ceremony of bride Choo Choo Nim and groom Black Rabbit Nim will commence shortly. I ask Ayana Tilda Nim, who will officiate the ceremony, to come to the podium. It seemed like the wedding was about to start, as the announcer, through a magical loudspeaker, called for Yona. Kaiwat, 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 I'll be back soon. Okay, do well. Do well, meow. Kaiwat, 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 yes. With Sejun and Theo's encouragement, Iona flew towards the podium. Shortly after, now the groom shall enter. Dun 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 tilde. Pipayak. Following the announcer's words, the wedding march played and the Black Rabbit, dressed in a white tuxedo, made a grand entrance. Our Black Rabbit looks so cool. Sejun said, watching the Black Rabbit, you're a grown-up now. As Sejun was lost in his thoughts watching the Black Rabbit walking toward the podium. Chairman Park, look at me, Vice Chairman Theo, I'm even more cooler, meow. Krung. No, Kyungi is the coolest. The two still immature attention seekers clamored for Sejun's attention. Just stay still, Sejun said sternly to Theo and Kyungi, and then, whoosh, embraced them both, turning his attention back to the Black Rabbit's wedding. Snap, as the Black Rabbit stood in front of the podium where Yona was. Next, the bride shall enter. Dara Ran Ran. In contrast to the earlier music, soft and gentle tones began to play as Choo Choo, dressed in a beautiful white dress adorned with a red ribbon, entered the wedding hall. Choo Choo, with her pure white fur, looked radiant in her white dress, as if brightening the entire world around her. It's a carrot flower, Sejun remarked, seeing Choo Choo holding a bouquet of carrot flowers as she slowly walked towards the podium. The symbolism of the carrot flower was perfect for their wedding. Nothing is too precious, not even life itself. It signified a willingness to sacrifice one's life for a loved one. Of course, if such a situation ever arose, Sejun would step in to solve it himself. He wouldn't let anyone make our Black Rabbit and Choo Choo unhappy. As Sejun was making this resolve, Sararek, the long train of Choo Choo's white dress swept the floor of the podium. It was several meters long. Just as all the guests thought it might be difficult for Choo Choo to reach the podium without attendants. Zing! A transparent gem, embedded in the center of the dress's bodice, started to glow. Whoosh! And a wind arose, causing the train of the dress to flutter beautifully behind Choo Choo. Wow! The guests were in awe as they watched Choo Choo. She seemed like the goddess of the wind descending upon the world. Snap! As Choo Choo stood in front of the podium, the wind subsided, and the train of her dress neatly settled down behind her. Once Choo Choo stood beside the Black Rabbit. Kaiwat, 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 these two rabbits. Iona began her prepared wedding speech. But, snore, snore. Some guests started dozing off, finding Iona's speech boring. Kaiwo, Kaiwo, everyone wake up. Iona, angered at the guests not paying attention to her painstakingly prepared speech, entered her second stage of fury. Hey, wake up. If you sleep, you die. Thanks to her, no one dared to sleep or leave their seat until Iona's speech was over. As Iona's speech was nearly concluding, lastly, I will bestow the great black dragon's blessing and gift upon the couple who are to be married. What? The great black dragon? The guests started murmuring upon hearing Iona's words. Receiving the blessing and gift from the great black dragon had significant implications. This was because the two were soon to hold a founding ceremony and become the king and queen of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. It meant that meddling with the Red Ribbon Kingdom would invite the wrath of the great black dragon. Amidst the murmurs of the guests, Kaiwat, 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 first I will bestow the great black dragon's blessings. Iona used the black dragon scales to engrave dragon tattoos on Choo Choo and the Black Rabbit. Although they already had tattoos, they were removed and redone for the wedding guests to see. Kaiwat, 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 and this is the gift from the great black dragon. Swoosh! Iona removed a white cloth covering something in a corner of the wedding hall, revealing a searchlight. The searchlight, made by Kaiser for Aileen. Since Aileen's heart had recovered and it was no longer needed, she had modified it and sent it as a gift through Iona. Click. QO. As the searchlight switched on, an image of the great black dragon appeared and roared in the sky. Even though it was a magical illusion, its overwhelming presence left no one in doubt that it was a gift from the great black dragon. The wedding of Choo Choo and the Black Rabbit left the guests in tremendous shock. Finally, we will begin the bouquet toss. Guests who wish to catch the bouquet, please gather behind the bride. The final event of the ceremony was about to begin. And then, what? Sejun was taken aback by what followed. Da. Guests rushed forward to secure a spot behind Choo Choo. Over 100 people gathered behind her. Sejun thought the bouquet toss was usually caught by a known acquaintance, but not here. Moreover, it was not limited to either gender. Many seemed eager to marry. Well, even I want to get married. Now, bride, please throw the bouquet with all your strength backwards. Pi. Following the host's instructions, Choo Choo threw the bouquet backward. The bouquet arched beautifully towards the guests. It's mine. No, I'm going to catch it. As the bouquet descended, guests jumped to catch it, but bounce, bounce, bounce. The bouquet bounced off their hands, flying off in a completely different direction. Meow. Theo instinctively swung his paw at the bouquet, flying towards him. Whack! The bouquet hit by Theo's paw shattered in the air, and the carrot flowers scattered and disappeared. That concludes the wedding ceremony. Guests, please remain seated. The host hurriedly wrapped up the ceremony amid the unexpected turn of events. Black Tower, 4th floor. Even after Sejun left, the Cross of Death continued to busily absorb wandering souls, resurrecting them as black skeletons. Clatter. one such newly resurrected skeleton. Clatter, clatter. It looked around eagerly, trying to understand its surroundings. Unlike other new black skeletons, who were just standing idly. At that moment, "Come on over, newbie. I am Philip, the first hoe. From now on, I'll teach you the basics of farming, starting with making and planting fields." As Philip approached the bewildered new black skeleton to teach it farming. Huh. Thud, thud. The new black skeleton, even before being taught by Philip, started repairing the collapsed ridges of soil. It seemed like it already knew how to farm, probably because it was the soul of a farmer before being resurrected as a black skeleton. However, its skill level was extraordinary. When the black skeleton brought its hand close to a grape sprout, whoosh, crack, green light emanated from the black skeleton's hand, rapidly growing the grape sprout. It began to grow at an incredible speed. Thanks to this, grapes in the vineyard started bearing fruit quickly. Clag, clag. As the wedding ended, the attendants started placing food on the tables where the guests were seated. The wedding feast commenced immediately. The guests, getting over the shock of the ceremony, focused on the food laid out. But what is this? Some guests, intrigued by Sejun's rice noodles, asked the attendants about the dish. This is a dish called rice noodles. Never seen this food before. Where did you get it? I heard it was brought by the king's uncle. Oh really, this is delicious. Hearing guests praise the rice noodles nearby. Hazeli. Kyuiha. Sejun and Kyungi, who made the rice noodles, couldn't hide their smiles. Then, slurp, slurp. Sounds of voraciously slurping food came from a nearby table. Kroong. Kyungi turned his head, alarmed by the threatening sound of vanishing food. Hud Kroong. His eyes met with legendary merchant urine. Spark. Sparks flew between them. And thus, their private food fighter contest began again. Slurp. I won't lose this time. Slurp. The rice noodles are mine. While Sejun watched them eagerly eating rice noodles. Chomp, chomp, chomp. He fed churu to Theo while eating. He chose his food based on what he liked from the royal palace menu. Crunch, crunch. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. As soon as the ceremony ended, Yona, who had returned to Theo's tail, also ate stir-fried peanuts. Then, what ba, rice noodles. I said I don't eat noodles ba. Crash. A guest flipped the table. Well, it's okay to dislike rice noodles, but flipping a table was too much. And above all, Kroong. The food, flung while flipping the table, landed on Kyungi's head. How dare they disrespect our Kyungi? Sejun was about to confront the table flipper when, Kroong. You mean you won't eat the rice noodles Dad and Kyungi made? Kyungi, angered at a strange point, grabbed the person's collar. Baya. Kroong. Have we met before? Despite seeing the face for the first time, the voice sounded familiar, so Kyungi asked. No, no, ba. I've never seen you before, ba. Shake, shake. The person, still grabbed by the collar, shook their head vehemently. Kroong, kroong. No, it's definitely a familiar voice. But that can't be, ba. Their voice became smaller, trying to disguise it. This only made them more suspicious. Sniff, sniff. Kroong, kroong. The smell is familiar too. We have met before. Kyungi insisted, confident after sniffing the person. Then, Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Of course, that's legendary merchant Mimmer. Yona, who had seen Mimmer's bare face before, spoke up. Mimmer was currently completely shaven after being sheared by Theo. Meow, your Mimmer. Upon hearing Yona's words, Theo quickly pulled out a contract and sent it to Aileen. Hut. This time you can't escape, meow. While Theo was getting Aileen's stamp. Why am I so unlucky, ba? Mimmer, whose collar was grabbed by Kyungi, felt like crying. Kroong, kroong. There's no way this is delicious. Let's eat it quickly. Kyungi forced Mimmer to sit down and offered her the rice noodles. Once she tries it, she'll change her mind. Bah! Slurp! Under the threatening atmosphere, Mimmer reluctantly began to eat the rice noodles. And then Mimmer's eyes widened. Delicious! The noodle evangelist Kyungi had led the lamb Mimmer into the world of noodles, and thus, a noodle enthusiast Mimmer was born. Chapter 263, Heh! Resolver Park Sejun steps in. Black Tower Administrator Area. Is this how it's supposed to be? Aileen was squatting down, picking up carrot flowers one by one to make a bouquet. These were the carrot flowers that had fluttered down from the 55th floor of the tower, gathered by Aileen. But, SSSRSS. The carrot flowers wilted quickly. They were too frail to withstand Aileen's overwhelming energy. SSSSS. Eventually, the carrot flowers couldn't resist Aileen's energy and crumbled beyond wilting. Keck, this is all because of that stupid poop cat Theo. Aileen, looking at the powdered carrot flowers, vented her annoyance at Theo. A little while ago, when Choo-Choo threw the bouquet. Hee. If Sejun catches this, he'll propose to me, right? Aileen was watching the scene through a crystal ball, preparing herself. And then, using the newly unlocked administrator ability interference, from the growth of the dragon heart, she subtly sent the bouquet towards Sejun without being noticeable. With her current magic power, she could only exert a little force, but with intense concentration, she accurately calculated the trajectory, and thanks to that, the bouquet moved exactly as Aileen had planned. Kihihi done. Aileen was delighted to see the bouquet flying precisely towards Sejun. However, there was an unexpected twist. Theo, who had angrily swatted away the bouquet that Aileen had painstakingly sent to Sejun. Just when Aileen was resenting Theo. A contract appeared in front of Aileen. It was the contract sent by Theo to make Mimmer his subordinate. From now on, I won't help that stupid dumb cat Theo. Annoyed with Theo, Aileen refused to stamp the contract. Yum, so delicious, bah. Slurp. Mimmer, constantly exclaiming in excitement, was slurping up the noodle soup. She was regretting why she hadn't eaten noodle dishes until now. Today, I will eat all the noodle dishes I've missed out on, bah. Just as Mimmer was reaching out for her fourth bowl of noodles with this determination. Kroong. Stop eating now. Kyungi used telekinesis to float the new bowl of noodles in front of Mimmer into the air. Whoosh! As a result, Mimmer's chopsticks cut through the air. Ya why ba, I can eat more ba. Realizing too late that Kyungi had taken her noodles, Mimmer glared at him and shouted in a sharp voice. Why are you doing this when you used to force-feed me before? For Mimmer, who had just entered the world of noodles, it was too harsh a treatment. But, gulp. Kroong. No, the rest are Kyungi's. Kyungi, holding Mimmer by the scruff, spoke very decisively. The noodle master Kyungi's hospitality was limited to just 3 bowls of noodles. Normally, Kyungi would have allowed Mimmer to eat up to 5 bowls, but because of the pink pig urine, that wasn't possible. Slurp. Even while guiding Mimmer into the world of noodles, urine was continuously slurping up his noodle soup. Meh. Thus, Mimmer, caught by the scruff by Kyungi, replied in a sullen voice, forced to end her introduction to being a noodle aficionado. And then, slurp. Kyungi started earnestly eating the noodles. Gulp. Mimmer watched Kyungi swallowing saliva. At that moment, Hut, Mimmer, do you want to eat rice noodle in the future too, meow? Theo sneakily approached Mimmer and started to pitch the rice noodles. Meh, of course, I want to eat it every day, bah. Mimmer vigorously nodded in response to Theo's question. Hut, then how much can you give me for it, meow? Our kids are doing great. Sejun smiled contentedly at the fantastic combination of tasting manager Kyungi and sales manager Theo. Moreover, Theo was employing a high-level sales tactic by asking the other party to state their price first. Our little ones have progressed so much. Seeing Sejun smiling at him. Chairman Park, do you like me that much, meow? Hut. I bet you can't take your eyes off me, Vice Chairman Theo, meow. Theo gained even more confidence. Pew hut, Mimmer, have you ever seen something like this, meow? After finalizing the rice noodle contract with Mimmer, Theo took out a corn of stamina and asked, But, Mehe, this is corn. I've eaten a lot of it before, ba. Mimmer wasn't particularly impressed by the corn Theo took out. Pew hut, this corn is different from any corn Mimmer has seen before, meow, because the great Chairman Park grew it, meow. Theo said arrogantly, handing the corn to Mimmer. So what changes just because it's grown by someone named Chairman Park? Mimmer, receiving the corn nonchalantly and examining it. What's this, Baya? What is this, ba? Mimmer was greatly surprised after checking the options of the stamina corn. Not only was it amazing that eating corn could increase stats, but what was even more astonishing was that the corn's grade was a class. Generally, the higher the grade of the crop, the better its taste, excluding exceptional circumstances. And Mimmer had never seen a class corn before. Crunch. Mimmer bit into the raw A-class corn to taste its natural flavor. Mimmer, closing her eyes to fully savor the taste of the corn, didn't need to say a word. Her rising lips indicated how excellent the corn tasted. Sweet. As Mimmer opened her eyes and spoke cheerfully. Pew hut, how's Chairman Park's corn, meow? Theo asked with a proud voice, as if showing off. Amazing, ba. Chairman Park must really be a genius at farming, ba. Pew hut, that's right, meow. Chairman Park is amazing, meow. Hey, you guys. Just as Sejun was looking at the two of them praising him. Peepayak. Black Rabbit came looking for Sejun. Peepayak. Uncle, come with me. Where to? Peepayak. We need to draw a family portrait. Black Rabbit had come to fetch Sejun and his siblings. A portrait. Peepayak. Yes, hurry. Black Rabbit urged, wanting to include Sejun and his siblings in the royal family portrait to be hung in the lobby of White Castle. It's not possible, meow. I still haven't received Aileen Unnai's stamp. Reminded of the contract sent to Aileen, Theo shouted, Mimmer needs to become my subordinate, meow. Hethy. Seeing Mimmer mesmerized by Sejun's crops in front of him, Theo began to feel anxious. But Theo was too scared to rush Aileen. Meow, Aileen Unnai, why haven't you stamped the contract, meow? Unaware of Aileen being upset, Theo had no choice but to wait. And then, croon. Kyungi can't go now either. Kyungi hasn't finished eating yet. Slurp. Kyungi, still eating the rice noodles, also said he couldn't go. Peepayak. Uncle, help me. Knowing that Theo and Kyungi listened to Sejun's every word, Black Rabbit immediately asked Sejun for help. And then, all right, Vice Chairman Theo, what's the problem? Resolver Park. Sejun steps in. Sejun started to resolve Theo's problem first with an arrogant voice. Chairman Park, Aileen Unnai. The contract, you sent a contract to Aileen. That's right, meow. Theo looked at Sejun with sparkling eyes. With the great Chairman Park stepping in, now Aileen Unnai will stamp the contract, and Mimmer will be my subordinate, meow. Just a moment, Aileen, did you see the contract Theo sent? The tower's administrator says that she saw it a short while ago and is currently stamping the contract. Reluctantly, Aileen stamped the contract in response, unable to resist Sejun's words. Okay, thanks. The tower's administrator feels embarrassed and says there's no need to thank her for this matter between you. The tower's administrator says she's finished educating the Holy Stone and sends it with you. Along with Aileen's words, a contract in absolute obedience to Sejun Nim. An evolved Holy Stone ice cube with a newfound discipline shown in Sejun's hand. Vice Chairman Theo here. Pew hut, as expected, Chairman Park is great, meow. As Sejun handed Theo the contract stamped by Aileen. Click. Theo quickly placed the contract down next to Mimmer. And then, Hethy. Mimmer, move over a bit, meow. Mimmer, still distracted by Sejun's crops, was nudged towards the contract. Meh bah. Following Theo's direction and sensing something odd, Mimmer looked down at the floor. Press. Precisely her hind foot landed on the blank space of the contract. Consequently, the contract was completed. Pew hut, now Mimmer is my subordinate, meow. Eek, I told you that wouldn't work on me. Swoosh. Anticipating Theo's trickery, Mimmer, who was already prepared, sprayed a contract nullification potion on the contract Theo was shaking. However, why isn't it being erased? The content in the contract remained due to the vast difference in power levels. Tab. Pew hut, subordinate, I'm counting on you from now on, meow. Theo spoke, patting the dispirited Mimmer on the shoulder. While Theo was making Mimmer, a legendary merchant, his subordinate. Kyungi, you can eat that later, let's eat honey first. Sejun tempted Kyungi with honey, planning to move while feeding him. But, krung. No, Kyungi is in the middle of a contest, can't stop now. Slurp. Kyungi said this while looking at Yurin, who was eagerly eating noodle soup on the other side. Vice Chairman Theo. Leave it to me, meow, I'll handle it, meow. Sejun sent Theo to stop Yurin from eating more noodles. Pew hut, let's go, meow. Krung. Now Kyungi can go. As Theo and Kyungi agreed to follow Black Rabbit. Pipayak. Follow me. Black Rabbit led Sejun and the animals to the room where the painters were waiting. At the destination followed by Black Rabbit, there was a grand throne with two smaller thrones placed in front of it. Pipiak. Around, Black Rabbit's parents and other family members who had already arrived were gathered. Pipayak. Uncle, you can sit at the back. Black Rabbit guided Sejun to the grand throne. Thump. As Sejun sat on the throne. This is my place, meow. Krung. Naturally, Theo and Kyungi took their places on Sejun's lap. Pip. And a golden bat perched on Sejun's right shoulder. Then, Pipayak. As Chu and Black Rabbit took their seats on the thrones in front of Sejun's throne. Peep. The rabbits gathered around them. Shortly after, Pipimic. Don't move. Dozens of gray rabbits, serving as painters, began earnestly painting the royal family's portrait on a huge canvas. As they chate. The room filled with the busy sounds of the rabbits' paintbrushes. However, this serene moment didn't last long. Gororong. Kurorong. Kaiworong. Berorong. Starting with someone snoring, sleep contagiously spread until eventually, a catastrophe occurred with everyone falling asleep. Pipimic. Unable to wake the royal family, the artist rabbits hurriedly tried to recall their appearance before sleep and continued painting. In the dense red mist of the outskirts of destruction. How pathetic to be defeated by just a dragon and return. Krug, if only that thing hadn't swallowed something strange. Halfa spoke bitterly in response to the other's words. A dragon swallowed something strange. Yes, it was round. After eating it, it became stronger than me, even though I had unlocked the second level of my seal. Did you say it was a black dragon? Yes, why? No reason, just got a bit curious. HMPH, soon, when we unlock the third level of our seal, it won't matter. That's true, all right, go and recover. Halfa's concentrated to heal his body. And then, what did he swallow? The being conversing with Halfa's showed interest in what Kaiser had swallowed. If only one dragon ate it, it would be fine, but if all dragons consumed it, they would be defeated again. But if they were the ones to consume it, our overwhelming victory. Fenrir, the god-hunting wolf and the first seat among the apostles of destruction, licked around his mouth while gazing at the Black Tower. Chapter 264, Another One. Wow! Sejun admired the completed family portrait on the giant canvas. He especially liked how handsomely he was portrayed. Well, since the others were animals, It was true that Sejun was the most handsome by human standards. Heh, am I not overly beautified here? Sejun, still not accustomed to his face beautified by Theo's massage, asked with a shy voice. Then, peep, we didn't do anything. It's because His Majesty's uncle has such a splendid appearance. Well, I guess I am that splendid. The representative of the painter rabbits, skilled in social etiquette, complimented Sejun's appearance once more, making him feel even better. No, well, it's just a bit. All right, you've worked hard. Here's your payment, go and enjoy some good food. Thanks to this, they earned a generous amount for a celebratory meal. A little later, peep, move the painting. The servants carefully moved the completed royal family portrait to the White Castle lobby. And then, peep-ayak, Uncle, I'll be busy for a while due to the founding ceremony of the Red Ribbon Kingdom happening in 3 days. Black Rabbit and Choo had to leave for the preparation of the founding ceremony right after their honeymoon. Let's go home for a bit. No matter how delicious the royal food and how comfortable the servants made things, it wasn't as relaxing as being at home. Let's go quickly, meow. Kroong. Even Kyungi wants to go home. Theo and Kyungi seemed eager to go home just like Sejun. However, Kaiwat, I have work left here and can't go. Yona emerged from Theo's tail, taking out a Theo ball and spoke in a gloomy voice. Yona, the master of the Black Tower's Wizard Tower, had meetings scheduled with other faction leaders at the tower. Such an opportunity for all faction leaders to meet wasn't easy to come by. Okay then, let's meet again in 3 days. Kaiwo. Yes, see you then, Vice Chairman Theo. Understood, meow. Having said goodbye to Yona, Sejun moved to the plaza in front of White Castle, where the waypoint to the 55th floor of the tower was. All right, get inside. Clank. Sejun put the animals into the void storage and placed his hand on the red crystal. Loading waypoints to other floors. A message appeared along with the waypoints to the floors Sejun could travel to. Stored waypoints. 99th floor of the tower. 85th floor of the tower. 83rd floor of the tower. Sejun chose the 99th floor to return home. Arrived at the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Bang! With the message of arrival at the 99th floor, there was a loud noise from behind Sejun. Startled by the loud noise, Sejun quickly turned his head to look back. A toad. Beyond the ice wall created by Ice Cube for Sejun's protection, he saw a giant toad. In the absence of the Minotaur King, some strange creature had taken over the waypoint. That was a close call. Currently, Theo, Kyungi, and the Golden Bat were all inside the void storage. Without the Ice Cube, he might have been directly attacked by it. Well, with the Black Dragon's scales and the power, indestructible body, he wouldn't have died. But considering the guts and power of the creature that had taken over the 99th floor waypoint, it would have been quite dangerous. Summon void storage. As Sejun was about to open the void storage to call the animals, slurp. The toad, having failed its initial attack, stuck out its tongue again to attack Sejun. Ice Cube. Sejun used the Ice Cube to protect himself from the toad's tongue attack. However, whoosh! The toad's tongue, initially flying straight, curved around the Ice Cube and attacked Sejun from another angle. What? Sejun was startled by the unexpected attack. Then, crackle! Another Ice Cube appeared, protecting Sejun. The Holy Stone Ice Cube was working hard, fearing that it might be called back by Aileen if something happened to Sejun. Clank! Come out, guys! Meanwhile, Sejun opened the void storage door and called out to the animals. Clank! All right, stay inside. As the void storage door closed. Kroong! Snack time! Kyungi enthusiastically filled his snack bag while roaming around the warehouse. Pip! And the Golden Bat, having returned to its old home after a long time, settled down in its usual spot and closed its eyes. Then, Chairman Park, when are you coming, meow? Eager to see Sejun's lap as soon as possible, Theo waited in front of the void storage door, ready to rush out at any moment while making biscuits. As time passed, clank, the void storage door opened, revealing Sejun's face. It's Chairman Park, meow. Excited Theo was about to rush to Sejun, putting strength into his hind legs. Meow. Theo's eyes caught a giant toad, raising its front legs to attack Sejun. How dare you attack Chairman Park, meow. Chairman Park, I Vice Chairman Theo, will protect you, meow. As soon as there was a chance, Theo quickly dashed out. Thump. He stepped on Sejun's face and leaped into the air. Snap. Meow meow fist. And with his dragon claws out, he swiftly dealt with the giant toad. Guard Theo has defeated the giant poison toad Dubai. Guard Theo has earned 20 million experience points, which is 50% of the total. It was indeed a dangerous creature. With poison and a name Sejun, realized from the enemy's name in the message that it was not an easy opponent. And then, pad pad. Sejun stroked Theo's belly, who was now focused on grooming on Sejun's lap. Thank you. While petting Theo, Sejun took out the holy stone ice cube to examine it closely. He didn't know how it was trained, but the performance of the holy stone had improved greatly. It autonomously created an ice cube to protect Sejun, and the sturdiness of the ice cube had changed from before. Holy stone ice shield cube. Right arrow, a stone formed from a star falling from the sky. Right arrow, the holy stone ice cube has evolved, gaining additional shield power, making the ice even harder. Right arrow, if you are recognized as the owner, you supply magic power to the holy stone to create ice in the shape of a cube. Right arrow, when the owner is in danger, the holy stone automatically creates ice cubes around the owner for protection. Right arrow owner, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow grade, SS. Right arrow usage restriction, magic power 321 or higher. Ice shield cube, the holy stone can evolve too. It was a result of surviving Aileen's harsh training. Sejun read the description and took out the holy stone piercing. Maybe I should ask Aileen to train this one too. Shiver, shiver. As if reading Sejun's thoughts, the holy stone piercing trembled. Then, Chairman Park pet here too, meow. Theo raised his chin, requesting Sejun to stroke under his chin. All right. Sejun put the holy stone piercing in his pocket and stroked Theo's chin. Thanks to Theo, the holy stone piercing overcame the crisis. Must evolve. The holy stone piercing entered special training for evolution. Stroking gently, while Sejun was petting Theo's chin and belly with both hands. Kueheb Krung. Hehe, all filled up. Kyungi, having filled his snack bag to the brim, came out of the void storage with a proud expression. Krung. Kyungi saw Sejun, who was lying down petting Theo's chin and belly. Dada dada. Kyungi hurriedly ran to Sejun's legs. Then, snap. Krung. Kyungi loves Dad's patting too. Kyungi climbed onto Sejun's lap and grabbed one of Sejun's hands petting Theo, placing it on his head. Puhaha, the greatest bliss is receiving Chairman Park's touch on Chairman Park's lap. Meow. Theo's happiness, who was enjoying Sejun's strokes with closed eyes, diminished. Who's that, meow? Annoyed, Theo opened his narrowed eyes to find the culprit disturbing his bliss. Krung. And saw Kyungi holding Sejun's hand with his front paws and placing it on his head. Kyungi, what are you doing, meow? Big brother, Kyungi will take just one of Dad's hands. All right, meow. Through their eyes, a conversation passed between the two, quickly reaching an agreement. However, let's go. Meow. Krung. As Sejun stood up, their agreement became moot. Krung. Upon arriving at the farm, mushroom ants working in the field greeted Sejun. Good, you've been well. Sejun received a warm welcome from the mushroom ants as he headed home. Then, Flap, flap. The dragon statues in front of Sejun's house, which had been waiting for Sejun's return, flew towards him to greet him. Kahaha, our Sejun has arrived, hasn't he? Sejun, you finally came. Hahaha, welcome, Tower Farmer of the Black Tower. I am the great red dragon Ramter Zahir. Yes, hello, I am Park Sejun, the Tower Farmer of the Black Tower. Seeing the red dragon statue for the first time, Sejun moved closer to Kaiser and Kellyan before greeting them. He was sure that Kaiser and Kellyan wouldn't harm him, but he wasn't sure about this red dragon. Let's get along well from now on. Although Ramter was displeased with Sejun's cautious attitude, he decided to tolerate it as he was in need. As Sejun greeted Ramter, Sejun, take this. Kaiser handed over a heavy bag of money. 25 billion tower coins. Are you going to reserve half samyangju and half grape wine with this money? Seeing the enormous amount of tower coins in the bag, Sejun asked Kaiser, assuming it was meant for reserving alcohol. However, that's the price for the black beans. What black beans? A sudden mention of a crop in Kaiser's statement caught Sejun off guard. Yes, Kaiser explained that he had eaten the black beans he received from the mushroom ants due to an unavoidable situation. So black beans do yield. The only one of the 5 colored beans that Sejun had never harvested. He had been wondering if they actually bore fruit, but now his question was answered. But who knew black beans had such an effect? The ability to increase all stats 9-fold when eaten with other beans. It would be incredibly effective even for himself. But if dragons received the same effect from it, it was unimaginable, a realm beyond Sejun's imagination. What a shame. If he had been there, he could have put the black beans in the box of abundance and harvested 2 black beans every day. Thank you, I'll use it well. It was already a thing of the past. Sejun put his regret behind him and took the money. Right, next time there are black beans, I'll be the first to buy them. That's not fair. Right, we need to discuss this amongst ourselves. Kellyan and Ramter protested Kaiser's statement, as the dragons argued over who would buy the black beans. Swoosh. Sejun quietly stood up. They always end up drinking together after such fights. No point in staying and getting caught in a dragon fight. Hehe, I'll use this money to ask Aileen for powers. As Sejun distanced himself from the dragons and was about to call Aileen. Kwek. The mushroom ant that had gifted the black beans to Kaiser approached Sejun confidently, with its antennae raised. Then, thump, it placed a single bean on Sejun's palm. What's this? Sejun was surprised to see the black bean on his palm. There's another one. Kwek. The mushroom ant looked smug at Sejun's expression. It hadn't harvested just 1 black bean. There was 1 extra, so it had gifted 1 to Kaiser. Chapter 265. Why does my body feel so heavy? Click. Mushroom ant, well done. Sejun praised the mushroom ant as he placed a black bean into the golden box of abundance. Thanks to this, he could now obtain 2 black beans per day starting tomorrow. Kwek. In response to Sejun's praise, the mushroom ant straightened its antennae more proudly and showed its back. Why are you showing your back when there's no mushroom? Confused by the mushroom ant's behavior, which lacked any mushrooms on its back. Kwek. The mushroom ant couldn't speak but seemed frustrated. If it's not the mushroom, sorry, is this what you want? Sejun then took out the black dragon scale. Kwek. The mushroom ant quickly nodded its antennae and responded in a cheerful voice. What it wanted was a symbol of being Sejun's subordinate, the black dragon tattoo. Here, when Sejun used the black dragon scale to engrave a black dragon tattoo on the mushroom ant's back. Kwek. The mushroom ant greeted Sejun and hurried back to its nest where its kin were. It wanted to show off its new black dragon tattoo. As the mushroom ant left, Aileen, show me the powers I can buy with my money. Sejun called Aileen. Sejun currently had about 26 billion tower coins. including 25 billion given by Kaiser and his original funds. The tower's administrator asks you to wait a moment. Shortly after, grantable powers. Power, blessing of fire power, blessing of water power, blessing of light power, blessing of darkness power, blessing of life power, blessing of death. Inhankable power. Power, mighty strength power, mighty agility power, mighty magic power. Aileen showed Sejun the powers he could buy with his money. So many. Sejun was surprised to see the number of available powers. There were almost 100. However, the tower's administrator says that if you choose one attribute blessing, you cannot choose the opposing element, so choose wisely. Since choosing one attribute blessing meant you couldn't choose the opposite, the actual number of powers available was less than 50. Still, it was a significant number. Aileen, how much for the attribute blessing powers? The tower's administrator says each attribute blessing power costs 20 billion tower coins. Then, one blessing of life and enhancing 3 other powers would be just right. Always prioritizing survival, Sejun naturally chose the blessing of life, which seemed related to survival. Having finished his calculations, Aileen, I choose the blessing of life. Phew hut, Chairman Park, I have money, meow. While Sejun was shopping, Theo, who had been otherwise occupied, pulled out a money bag from his bundle and exclaimed, "It's okay, Aileen, Sejun, having already decided what to buy, was about to purchase the powers. But then, Kung! The heavy sound of Theo's money bag being set down drew everyone's attention. It was unusual for a magically light money bag to make such a sound. Phew hut, Chairman Park, how about this, meow? Theo, looking triumphant, opened the money bag. And then, wow! Sejun exclaimed in awe upon seeing the contents of the money bag. As Sejun had guessed, the money bag contained an enormous sum of money, a staggering 100 billion tower coins. Half of it, 50 billion tower coins, was from selling Sejun's crops to Mimir and agreeing to provide a lifetime supply of rice noodles. The rest, another 50 billion, was from selling a golden plate received from Urin to Mimir. Aileen, show me the powers again. With that, the level of powers Sejun could buy drastically increased. The tower's administrator says okay. And Aileen was equally thrilled. Kihihi, Theo, you annoyed me earlier, but now you're doing something commendable. Aileen, who had been upset with Theo, smiled and scrolled up the list of powers displayed in the crystal ball. Swoosh! As the list scrolled up, powers that Aileen had wanted to give to Sejun, but hadn't dared to because of their high cost, became visible. With the money Sejun currently had, he could choose a few of the lower-level powers from those Aileen had wanted to give him. Power abundance. Power, summon small meteorite. Limited power, dragon fear, 3 uses. Those were the 3 powers chosen. Sejun, you can choose from these. Each one costs 125 billion tower coins. Aileen showed Sejun the powers. Sejun pondered over the powers shown by Aileen. He was tempted to choose the seemingly destructive power, summon small meteorite, or limited power, dragon fear, 3 uses, which could overpower opponents with just its aura. However, a caterpillar must eat pine needles to survive, and eating anything else could lead to trouble. And for some reason, he felt goosebumps thinking about choosing any other power, which seemed ominous. Aileen, I'll choose abundance. Sejun selected power, abundance. Unknowingly, it was the best choice among the 3. Power, summon small meteorite, required enormous magic power, and using it even once with Sejun's magic power could lead to death due to magic depletion. Limited power, dragon fear, 3 uses, didn't protect the caster, meaning Sejun had to withstand the dragon fear himself. In other words, using dragon fear would kill Sejun first, the caster. As Aileen herself was a dragon, this was something she hadn't considered. Ultimately, choosing any power other than power, abundance, would have either killed him upon use or been a waste of money without use. The tower's administrator says she will now start bestowing the power. Okay, Sejun responded, his face full of anticipation. And then, 125 billion tower coins will be deducted from your seed bank. The tower's administrator bestows power, abundance, onto your mid-level administrator mark. A green light seeped into the back of Sejun's right hand. Fortunately, there was no pain. Shall we see what kind of power it is? Sejun checked his newly acquired power. Power abundance. Right arrow, everything you touch becomes abundant. An unhelpful description. Everything I touch becomes abundant. To test it, Sejun reached towards a 5-colored beanstalk in front of him. Then, power abundance is applied to the 5-colored beanstalk. The amount of next produce from the 5-colored beanstalk will double. A message appeared. Double. With just one touch, the amount of beans doubled. Sejun excitedly used the power on the crops in the surrounding fields. An hour or so after using the power on the crops. Why does my body feel so heavy? Sejun suddenly felt a decline in his physical condition. It wasn't sudden. His condition had gradually worsened while using the power. But engrossed in the joy of doubling the harvest, Sejun had only now realized his body's condition was deteriorating. Why is this happening? Sejun wondered, having never experienced this before when. Hello, Sejun Nim. Pottery greeted Sejun as he passed by. Hey Pottery, you've been well, right? Yes, of course. Sejun approached Pottery, engaging in conversation. Wouldn't it be great to double the grapes too? Seeing Pottery, Sejun felt a desire for grapes. Snap! Sejun placed his hand on Pottery's branch and used the power. And then, power abundance is applied to the grapevine Pottery. Sejun fainted while standing. To use power, abundance, life energy was required, and Sejun, unaware, had recklessly used his life energy. That was the reason for his deteriorating physical condition. Moreover, the last entity Sejun used his power on, Pottery, was a candidate for the world tree. To double the harvest of grapes, a tremendous amount of life energy was required. All of Sejun's life energy began to be infused into Pottery's body, leading to Sejun's fainting. A caterpillar must eat pine needles, but eating too much can kill it. Wow, I feel energized. Pottery, unaware that it was absorbing Sejun's life energy, was excited to draw in the energy. However, something feels off. Suddenly, it felt a strong sensation. Therefore, Pottery quickly checked the source of the energy and... Sejun Nim. There was Sejun, whose life energy was diminishing and who was withering away in real time. Sejun Nim, you can't die. If Sejun died, Pottery too would face consequences from both Aileen Nim and Flamey Nim. Hurriedly, Pottery began reinfusing life energy into Sejun, aiding his recovery. But then, thud, Sejun collapsed, and contact with him was lost. No, this can't happen. Pottery was unable to continue supplying life energy. Though the explanation is lengthy, this all happened in a mere moment. Meow, Chairman Park, snap out of it, meow. Slap, slap. Theo, equipped with a Sejun radar, quickly detected Sejun's distress and began administering treatment. And then, Krung. Kyungi also realized that Sejun's condition wasn't good. Kueng. Dad, you can't die. Kyungi, with tears and snot running down, hurriedly massaged Sejun's body. Kueng, kueng. Massage, massage. With each rub of Kyungi's front paws on Sejun's body, a faint blue light appeared and disappeared. Driven by a desperate desire to heal Sejun, Kyungi unknowingly infused magic into Sejun's body and inadvertently mastered a physical magic massage that strengthened Sejun's body. Fortunately, before Sejun collapsed, Pottery had infused just enough life energy to prevent death, allowing Sejun to recover quickly under Theo and Kyungi's massages. However, the tower's administrator is furious, asking if you're the one who did this to our Sejun. I'm sorry. Pottery, what have you done to our master? I'm sorry. Pottery, having caused Sejun to faint, was reprimanded by both Aileen and Flamey. It was a helpless situation, but Pottery couldn't talk back considering the formidable nature of the others. I'm wronged. Pottery cried out in its heart, unheard by anyone. All right. Sejun woke up feeling refreshed. When did I fall asleep? Having no memory of lying down on the bed, Sejun tried to recall what had happened. I used the power on Pottery, and suddenly I felt my energy draining, and then. He couldn't remember anything after that. Did I faint using the power, but why? As Sejun wondered why he had fainted. The tower's administrator asks if you're awake now, and if you're feeling okay. Aileen spoke to him. Yeah, I'm fine, Aileen, but why did I faint while using the power? Sejun asked Aileen about what he was curious about. The tower's administrator says that power, abundance, is a power that uses life energy. The tower's administrator apologizes for not informing you about this in advance. No, it's okay, these things happen. Unaware of how close he had come to death, Sejun coolly responded, trying to look unfazed. And then, Miuo. He lifted Theo, who was hanging onto his knee as usual, and attached him to his leg. Swoosh. He marked the date on the bedroom wall. It's already the 358th day. In just a week, it would be a year since he was stranded. Time had passed so quickly. It was really scary back then. Sejun recalled the moment he first arrived at the tower. Krung. Dad, are you okay? Kyungi, along with Pinkfur, who had just woken up, came looking for Sejun. Yeah, I'm fine now. Krung. That's a relief. Kyungi expressed relief and clung to Sejun's leg. Let's go have breakfast. Sounds good, meow. Krung Krung. Great, Kyungi is hungry. With Theo still half asleep responding, and Kyungi excited at the thought of eating, Sejun headed to the kitchen with both of them clinging to his legs. Day 358 of being stranded. A peaceful morning began on the 99th floor of the tower. Chapter 266. Looks like I got an SS-grade item after all. How do I get in there? Fenrir, the god-hunting wolf in the first seat among the apostles of destruction, gazed at the black tower, lost in thought. To find the item that enhanced the abilities of the dragon swallowed by Kaiser, the leader of the black dragons, he needed to enter the black tower, but there was no obvious way in. Of course, there was a method used by the other apostles of destruction, which involved sharing their power with a being capable of entering the tower and parasitizing them with a fragment of themselves to gain access. But that was too lowly a method for a noble wolf like himself. Then, I can use Jormungandr. Fenrir recalled Jormungandr, the world-devouring serpent disguised as a passageway hunting around the tower. And Jormungandr. Fenrir called out to Jormungandr and began devising a plan to enter the Black Tower. Clicking. After breakfast, Sejun opened the golden box of abundance, and inside were 3 black beans neatly placed. Hazeli. Sejun chuckled as he took out 2 black beans from the box, then, clicking. He closed the golden box of abundance. Now, when he will check it tomorrow morning, the remaining black bean would magically become 3. It's a pity I can only put in 1 bean, Sejun said in a regretful voice, looking at the golden box of abundance. Well, being able to increase the number of black beans in this way was something to be thankful for, but still, the more the merrier. The 2 obtained black beans were secretly stored in the void storage, along with the golden box of abundance, unbeknownst to the dragons. There were 3 dragons and 2 black beans. If he started selling the black beans now, a tremendous fight would break out among the dragons over who gets to have them. Considering the effects of the black beans, it was a distinct possibility. But in 2 days, there would be 6 surplus black beans, allowing him to sell 2 to each dragon, so there was no need to create discord. Starting a fight among the dragons might raise the price of the black beans, but that would mean losing the future for short-term gain. If the three dragons started fighting over the black beans, this farm would turn into a complete mess. Moreover, if he got swept up in the aftermath, it would be dangerous for him too. The losses outweighed the gains. While Sejun was securing the black beans, Krung, Kyungi is going to collect herbs. Okay, take care. After a hearty breakfast, Kyungi headed to the western forest where kudzu was planted. Having been away for a few days, he expected to find more herbs than usual today. I should get to work too. After Kyungi left, Sejun also got ready to work. There was a lot to do. He had to bottle the finished wine, brew new wine in the empty jars, and make rice noodles for Mimmer as Theo had promised. Additionally, he needed to use power, abundance, to double the harvest yield. Vice Chairman Theo, it's time to work. Tattle tattle. Sejun shook his leg looking at Theo, who was obliviously clinging to it. If the chairman works, you should too. Work, Vice Chairman Theo. But, no meow, Chairman Park works too hard meow. Squeeze. Theo, unwilling to let go of Sejun, clung even tighter in protest. Working hard is why I'm the chairman, Vice Chairman Theo. Meow, that's true meow. Theo had an epiphany from Sejun's offhand remark about work. The hardest worker is the chairman meow. Then as the vice chairman, he too must work harder meow. Otherwise, he could lose his position as vice chairman meow. Chairman Park, I'll work hard and come back meow. Theo, determined not to lose his position as vice chairman, hurriedly descended the tower to work. But did he take the crops in his bundle? Sejun spoke in a worried voice, looking at Theo, who had already gone far enough to be out of sight. If Theo hadn't refilled his bundle with crops after selling them to Mimmer, it would be empty now. Well, if he didn't, he'll come back midway. Sejun, watching the direction Theo went, quickly walked towards the brewery. Tower 4th floor. Trudge, trudge. A group of 10 novice hunters, who had easily cleared the 2nd and 3rd floors of the tower where the experience farm was located, cautiously moved through the 4th floor in search of their prey, skeletons. Having ascended the 2nd and 3rd floors with ease, it was their first hunt, and everyone was tense. Apart from the sound of footsteps, there was no conversation among them. After 3 hours of searching for skeletons, they had moved quite a bit, but they hadn't seen a single skeleton. Have we traveled too far? A frightened hunter shouted to his party members as they strayed far from the waypoint. They were inexperienced in hunting and lacked common sense. Mendel, could you shut your mouth for now? At this rate, your noise will attract all the skeletons. Sorry. Realizing his mistake, Mendel quietly responded. Then, sniff, sniff. Doesn't it smell like grapes around here? Stefan, leading the group, took a deep breath and commented. Oh, you're right. As they moved a bit further, the other party members also smelled the strong scent of grapes. Where is this smell coming from? Let's follow the smell. Tired of searching for skeletons, the weary hunters decided to follow the grape scent. They were a bit hungry, and the scent of grapes was too fragrant to resist. But, what? Rattle, rattle. The hunters, who had followed the sweet grape scent, suddenly found themselves surrounded by over 50 black skeletons. Drop your weapons and follow us. At the command of a talking black skeleton, the novice hunters had no choice but to comply. They were just relieved not to be killed on the spot. As they followed the black skeletons, the scent of grapes grew stronger. A little later, well, the hunters saw a vast vineyard laden with bunches of grapes. And, what am I looking at? Are skeletons farming grapes? The hunters witnessed the bizarre sight of black skeletons and regular skeletons harmoniously harvesting grapes. Then, plug plug. Go and pick them. The black skeletons pushed them into the vineyard and instructed. Here's the samyangju. Sejun bottled today's batch of samyangju and distributed 20,000 bottles. giving 10,000 each to Kaiser and Kellyan. Ha ha ha, just looking at it is satisfying. Indeed, we won't run out of booze for a while. Kaiser and Kellyan were delighted to receive 10,000 bottles of Samyeonju each. But Ramter could only watch enviously. He had been completely stripped of his tower coins by Kaiser. Although Ramter had been diligently accumulating tower coins, it was still nothing compared to the wealth of Kaiser and Kellyan. He couldn't afford to buy Samyeonju, since buying black beans was the priority. Then, "Hey Ramter Nim, try some of this leftover Samyeonju." Sejun offered Ramter 5 bottles of Samyeonju. After bottling, exactly 20,005 bottles of Samyeonju were produced, and Sejun kept 5 of them for himself, to drink or use in cooking later. However, seeing Ramter unable to take his eyes off the Samyeonju, Sejun felt a pang of sympathy. One of the saddest things in the world is not being able to eat what you desire. It seemed dragons were no different. "Sejun, thank you." Ramter was touched by Sejun's gesture. "It's nothing much, but take this." To express his gratitude, Ramter gave Sejun the red full-body armor he had brought with him. "Really?" Sejun was delighted at Ramter's offer. The red full-body armor was standing like a scarecrow in the middle of a sweet potato field. Sejun had been eyeing the armor since yesterday, but since he wasn't close to Ramter, he only peeked at it from a distance. He couldn't believe he was being offered such armor. "Yes, now it's yours." With Ramter's words, the usage restrictions on the armor were lifted. "Thank you." Upon hearing Ramter's words, Sejun hurried to the sweet potato field with excitement and examined the armor. Red Dragon's full-body scale armor. Right arrow, this armor is made from 1,000 red dragon scales and crafted by a skilled blacksmith to withstand the dragon's aura. Made from the red dragon scales, it is almost immune to fire and is very sturdy. Right arrow, when worn, it consumes magic power to activate a barrier that neutralizes some of the dragon's aura. Right arrow usage restriction. Strength over 1,500, stamina over 1,500, magic power over 1,000, recognized by Ramter Zahir. Right arrow creator, Udon Tower Farmer of the Red Tower. Right arrow grade, SS. Strength and stamina over 1,500, and magic power over 1,000. The usage restrictions were tremendous. What a pity. The fact that he couldn't wear such a magnificent armor, nor use the barrier that neutralizes the dragon's aura. Looks like I got an SS-grade item after all. Disappointed for a moment, Sejun carried the armor next to the Creator God's tablet signpost and click click. He adjusted the armor's joints to make it kneel beside the signpost, with its right hand making a V sign. Heh, nice. Sejun, pleased for some reason, displayed the red dragon's full-body scale armor in front of the Creator God's tablet. Now off to make more booze. Sejun headed back to the brewery to make another batch of 20,000 bottles of Samyeonju, as he had sold that much today. Sejun was excited about the prospect of sweating and working hard. Indeed, such laborious work suited Sejun, but I need to make booze quickly to earn money. Sejun simply loved making money. Meow meow meow. Vice Chairman Theo is working hard again today, meow. Theo, having had a great realization from Sejun's words, was using the merchant passage to descend the tower when... What meow? He came upon a fork in the road. And... Phew, this way, meow. Following the pull in his paws, Theo headed down the left path. Whether the path was right or wrong didn't matter. Theo had the ability to turn even a wrong answer into the right one. A little later, thud, the left path closed and the face of a snake appeared. It would be nice if he's tasty. A fragment of Jormungandr, the world-devouring snake, was pleased to swallow Theo. But Theo was a strong cat who could tear open Jormungandr's fragment's belly and escape whenever he wanted. Scratch, scratch. Meow, meow, meow. The pull is stronger, meow. Something good is ahead, meow. Vice Chairman Theo, the right hand of Chairman Park, is on the move, meow. Garon, pick them up, meow. Theo, humming a tune, defeated the white snakes and spoke to Garon on his head. Swoosh, swoosh. Garon diligently picked up the white coins with his tongue, following Theo's instruction. Then, pio pio. The sound of a bird's cry was heard. Theo intuitively felt that the source of the allure was in the direction of the sound. Over there, meow. Theo quickly ran towards the source of the sound. Swoosh. Pio. There Theo saw a small bird fighting, surrounded by white snakes. The bird's cries were loud, but it seemed tired from the prolonged battle, its wing beats weakening and its altitude gradually decreasing. If it dropped just a bit more, it risked being swallowed by the snakes. Swish, swish. Theo swiftly intervened and dealt with the snakes. And then, Puahaha, since I saved your life, you need to stamp here. Press. Twinkle, twinkle. The bird, looking at Theo with eyes full of admiration, quickly stamped the contract Theo presented. Pio pio. Thank you for saving me. My name is Pururur Yatra from the white-headed, long-tailed tit tribe. Pururur Yatra introduced itself to Theo. Puahaha, your name is Piat, meow. Piat, you are now my subordinate, so you must listen well to me, meow. Swipe, swipe. Subordinate Piat Psi. Theo wrote Piat next to the footprint he had already stamped on the subordinate section of the contract. Pio. My name is Piat. It's Pururur Yatra. Pururur Yatra corrected its name on the contract. However, Pururur Yatra spoke too quickly, and to Theo's ears, it just sounded like Piat. Piat, I know your name is Piat, meow. I wrote it correctly here, meow. Theo pointed at the contract as he spoke. Pio. But that's not my name. Thus, Pururur Yatra, dejected about being contracted under a different name, became Theo's new subordinate. Chapter 267. So it's time to clock out, meow. Tower Floor 79. The kingdom of the birds, Kav, flourished for hundreds of years, creating a brilliant civilization. However, a problem arose in the kingdom several decades ago when all the lakes within its territory dried up. The cause was an inexplicable drought. All the lands of the Kav kingdom were severely cracked due to a lack of water. Queen Prana of the Kav kingdom managed to somewhat solve the problem by urgently bringing water from other floors, but there was one issue that couldn't be resolved. That was the drying mother tree. Despite many birds continuously pouring water, the condition of the mother tree only worsened. To the birds of the Kav kingdom, the mother tree held significant meaning. All the birds of the Kav kingdom were born from the flowers of the mother tree. To them, the mother tree was literally their mother. With the mother tree drying up, the birds' worries were far from minor. The biggest problem was that, as the mother tree dried, the number of birds being born was gradually decreasing. Since last year, the chirping of baby birds had almost disappeared in the Kav kingdom. As a result, the once lively capital of the kingdom now lay in a deep state of despair. In the center of such a capital stood a lone mountain. Atop the mountain was a beautiful rainbow-colored castle, the rainbow castle of Kav that had stood its ground for hundreds of years. Prana, will the messenger birds find someone to save the mother tree this time? Louis, we must believe. They are the children chosen by the priestess of the tree. They will surely find someone to save the mother tree. Queen Prana of the Kav kingdom answered with a voice full of unwavering conviction, addressing her husband's concerns. The priestess of the tree, who could hear the mother tree's voice. Every year, the priestess of the tree appointed birds chosen by the mother tree as messengers to go outside the kingdom and find a hero who could cure the mother tree. For 10 years, they sent messenger birds out and brought many people, but no one could even figure out why the mother tree was drying. Prana, then I'll go get water again. Yes, please do. As her husband Louis prepared to leave for another floor, leaping from the castle's terrace to fly in the sky. Sigh. Prana let out a deep sigh she had been holding back. In truth, she too was anxious. She just didn't show it, fearing that the kingdom would waver if she too appeared shaken. I hope this year someone will surely. Prana gazed at the distant mother tree, fervently praying that one of the messenger birds would bring someone who could save it. Pew hut. Getting a subordinate is also work, so I am diligently working, meow. It seems today's work is done, meow. As Theo proudly looked at his subordinate Piat. Pio. Chief, but what should I call you? Piat, who had decided to become Theo's subordinate, though the contract did not bear his name, and had just been rescued by Theo, asked while looking at him. Pew hut. Now that you mention it, I haven't introduced myself, meow. I am Theo Park, the deadly dragon claw golden cat, subordinate of the great black dragon, meow. By the way, I am also the right-hand man of Chairman Park, meow. Piat, who had just been born and didn't know what a black dragon was. Pio. It's an honor to be Theonim's subordinate. Piat was simply overjoyed to become Theo's subordinate. Another naive one had appeared in this world. Pew hut. That's right, meow. Becoming the subordinate of Vice Chairman Theo is a tremendous honor, meow. Theo said, feeling smug as Piat looked at him with admiring eyes. Just then, gurgle. A sound came from Piat's stomach. He had not eaten anything for several days while fighting the white snakes in this area. Pew hut, just wait a moment, meow. Thinking he could show off to his subordinate, Theo opened his bundle. However, rustle. Even when he put his paw into the bundle, nothing was caught. There's nothing, meow. Theo realized then that the bundle was empty. Piat, eat this instead, meow. Theo took out some peanuts from his pocket, which he had set aside for Yona. Thank you. Peg. Piat began to energetically crack open the peanuts. And then, Pio. Delicious. Crunch. After tasting the peanuts, Piat started to earnestly eat the crushed peanuts. Pew hut, eat a lot, meow. Theo said, crushing the peanuts into powder to make it easier for Piat to eat. Pio. Thank you, Theonim. Pew hut, no need to thank me, meow. Theo grinned mischievously as he watched Piat eating the peanuts. 50 tower coins per peanut, and since I myself crushed the peanuts, that's a service fee of 100 tower coins, totaling 750 tower coins for 5 peanuts, meow. True to his role as Sejun's money-conscious right hand, Theo never gave anything away for free. Pio. I'm full now. Piat held his stomach after eating 5 peanuts. Pew hut. Piat, now that you're done eating, let's settle the bill, meow. Theo stretched out his paw and said, Pio. Bill. That's right, meow. You have to pay after eating, meow. Pio. I don't have any money. Maybe this will do. Piat took out an egg as big as his body from the small bag he was carrying. Aside from giving birth to birds, the mother tree also bore eggs as fruits, and birds like Piat sometimes brought these along as a packed lunch for long journeys. Meow, what's that? Theo was surprised to see the egg Piat took out. It's a fried egg, Chairman Park's favorite, meow. Fried egg is a dish made from eggs, but Theo's mind had been imprinted with its name after seeing Sejun excitedly eating fried eggs. Pio. Hee, I have a lot of these. I'll give them all to you, in exchange for peanuts. Seeing Theo's happy reaction, Piat hurriedly shouted. Piat was thrilled at the thought of trading his not-so-tasty eggs for peanuts. Good, meow. Let's get out of here first, meow. Piat, stick close behind me, meow. Pio. Yes. As Piat moved behind Theo. Swish. Meow. Theo pulled out his dragon claws and swung his paw from top to bottom. It was Theo's second technique, 1 meow slash. 5 lines appeared on the body of the Jormungandr's fragment, dividing it into 6 parts. SSSSSS. The dead fragment of Jormungandr turned to dust and disappeared, and clink. White coins began falling to the ground. Pio. Theonim, you're amazing. Piat was astonished at the sight he was seeing for the first time. Piat, bring me the coins, meow. Theo instructed Piat to collect the coins. Pio? Yes. Piat, now even more admiring of Theo, quickly flew and brought the coins to Theo. After collecting all the coins, Pew hut, I even got fried eggs, Chairman Park's favorite, so I, Vice Chairman Theo, have worked overtime today, meow. So it's time to clock out, meow. Piat, follow me, meow. A confident Theo turned towards the direction leading up the tower and spoke to Piat with a commanding voice. Pio. Yes, I want to eat peanuts quickly. Piat, blinded by the desire for peanuts, forgetting his duty as a messenger bird sent to save the mother tree, he eagerly followed Theo. Slurp. Coffee really is about the hand that makes it. After lunch, Sejun grimaced as he drank coffee. He brewed himself using beans and a dripper provided by the black rabbit. It's not good. It didn't taste like the coffee he had in the castle. It was just bitter with an unpleasant sourness that made his face scrunch up. Slurp. Still needing his caffeine fix, Sejun drank the coffee while enduring the bitterness. After finishing the bitter coffee, you have consumed a bitter medicine. Talent, a medicine that's bitter is good for stamina, is activated. Stamina increases by 3. Treating the coffee as medicine, his stamina increased by 3. Stamina increased by 3. Thanks to this, Sejun realized just how bitter the coffee he made was. Now I should go make rice noodle dough. Sejun went to the kitchen to make rice noodle dough with the relic, rice dough that swallows wealth, inserting money into it to create the dough. Thump thump. As he was busy kneading the dough. Krung. Dad, Kyungi is here. Kyungi, who had been gathering herbs in the western forest, returned. Kyungi, did you gather a lot of herbs? Krung. Yes, Kyungi brought lots of herbs. Tada. In response to Sejun's question, Kyungi showed his snack pouch. Inside the snack pouch were 20 sweet blue kudzu roots and 3 extremely bitter white kudzu roots. And then, there was 1 green kudzu root that Sejun hadn't seen before. Krung. This one smells really sour, but smelling it makes my mouth water. Kyungi said, looking at the green kudzu root. Really? Hearing Kyungi's words, Sejun sniffed the green kudzu root. Oh, it does smell like lime here, He naturally salivated at the fresh scent. Thankfully, it's not bitter. Sejun examined the green kudzu root more closely, feeling relieved. Overabundant magic power kudzu root. Right arrow. Unlike other kudzu roots that absorb vitality from living hosts, this kudzu root absorbs magic power from surrounding kudzu. Right arrow, absorbing the magic power of dozens of kudzu roots with strong vitality. Its medicinal properties are enhanced. Right arrow, when consumed, it either increases magic power by 50 or potential magic power by 25. Right arrow, low chance of awakening, a talent related to absorption upon consumption. Right arrow has a strong sour taste. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow shelf life, 210 days. Right arrow grade, A+. Tonight's dinner will be grilled fish. Smelling the lime scent, Sejun wanted to sprinkle the juice of the overabundant magic power kudzu root, which has a lime scent, on grilled fish. Krung. That sounds great. Kyungi cheered at Sejun's words. Daddy's cooking is always good. Then Daddy will make grilled fish, and Kyungi, eat this and help with the rice noodles. Sejun said, giving Kyungi 5 honey jellies to eat. Kyuehe Krung. Okay. Kyungi put the honey jellies in his mouth, took down the black noodle maker hanging on the kitchen wall, and put Sejun's rice noodle dough into it. Kyungi. And began pressing the dough to make noodles. Meanwhile, clank. Sejun took fish out of the void storage, skewered them and started grilling. As Sejun had grilled about 300 pieces of fish. You have completed grilled piranhas. Your proficiency in cooking LV, 7 slightly increases. Your proficiency of cooking LV 7 has filled and the level increases. Messages appeared announcing the increase in cooking level, and Sejun's cooking skill level rose to 8. Just then, Chairman Park, I'm back, meow. Theo flew towards Sejun, shouting. Swoosh. As usual, avoiding Sejun's hand. Wham! Theo hugged Sejun's face with his body. Tui Tui, you're back. Thanks to that, Sejun had to spit out Theo's fur again. Looks like he'll have to make another Theo ball. Pew Hugh Hut, that's right, meow. You look too happy for someone who went out with nothing in his bundle. Did you work hard? Pew Hugh Hut, of course, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo worked incredibly hard and even brought back a subordinate, meow. Theo proudly spoke and turned to introduce Piot. Kroong. Who's that? Pio Pio. Hello, Great Black Dragon Chairman Park. I am Piot, Theo Nim's subordinate. Piot, who was politely greeting Kyungi while making rice noodles, had mistaken the strongest Kyungi for Theo's boss. Kroong. Kyungi is not Chairman Park. Daddy is Chairman Park. Pio. What? Following Kyungi's front paw, Piot turned his gaze to Sejun and their eyes met. I'm doomed. Piot felt dejected, having botched his first encounter with Sejun. Chapter 268. Why is this guy ranked number 1? Again. Park Sejun spoke indifferently as he saw a small bird, flustered upon realizing he was ranked the highest after greeting Kyungi. Such treatment was all too familiar to Sejun. Is your name Piot? As Sejun initiated conversation with Piot. Pio Pio. Yes, that is correct. I am Pururur Yatra from the white-headed long-tailed Tit 1 tribe. Piot responded in a disciplined voice. Oh, you're from the white-headed long-tailed Tit. No wonder you're so cute. All right, Piot, let's get along well from now on. Sejun gently shook Piot's wing. Pio Pio. Thank you, I will serve Chairman Park diligently from now on. Piot bowed deeply, feeling honored. Meanwhile, internally, Piot was in deep confusion upon seeing Sejun, an existence that greatly deviated from the laws of the wild. Why is this guy ranked number 1? To Piot, who had only been alive for a month, the known method of ranking was solely based on strength. By that measure, Sejun should have been ranked below him. Let's just watch for now. Piot, selected as a messenger bird immediately upon birth, had to leave right after receiving a few days of training, so the teachers didn't have time to teach Piot everything. Pururur Yatra, if you don't understand, just watch for now. That was the advice given to Piot. They were truly great teachers. Without such guidance. Kroong Kroong. Piot, did Kyungi just see a disloyal look in your eyes towards Dad? Don't tell me you're disrespecting Dad. Pio. No, no. Otherwise, Piot would have been punished by Sejun's bodyguard, Kyungi. Piot showed Chairman Park the fried egg, meow. Thus, unknowingly avoiding a fatal situation, Theo instructed Piot to take out an egg. Fried egg. As Sejun was puzzled by Theo's words. Pio. Here it is. Piot took an egg out of its bag. What this is? Sejun excitedly observed the egg Piot had taken out. However, this is an egg. Egg fruit. The name written on the egg was different from what Sejun knew. Although it looked and felt like an egg on the outside, it was named egg fruit. What's this? Sejun curiously examined the egg. Egg fruit. Right arrow, a fruit harvested from the mother tree. Right arrow encased in a hard shell are layers of white and yellow liquid. Right arrow rich in nutrients. Right arrow cultivator, mother tree. Right arrow shelf life, 30 days. Right arrow grade C. A simple description. Yet, an egg grows on a tree. It was enough to astonish Sejun. He somewhat anticipated it due to the name fruit, but it was still fascinating. Was the fried egg given by the black rabbit also made from this? Thud. Sejun prepared to taste the egg fruit by placing a frying pan over the fire and adding oil. As the frying pan heated up, tap, he lightly tapped the egg fruit against the edge of the pan and applied pressure to crack it open. Sizzle. The sticky white and yolk from the egg fruit started to cook in the pan, spreading a delicious smell. That's right. It was the scent of the fried egg Sejun was thinking of. Krung. It smells like the fried eggs we had at the big brother's house. Kyungi also confirmed the scent. Indeed, the fried eggs eaten at the Black Rabbit's castle were made from this egg fruit. As Sejun and Kyungi shared a fried egg and displayed content expressions. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, how is it, meow? Did I, Vice Chairman Theo, work hard by trading peanuts for fried eggs, meow? Did I not work hard, meow? Theo asked with an immense air of smugness. There's more of this. Our Vice Chairman Theo really worked hard. Pew Hut, of course, meow. I'm Vice Chairman Theo, so I work hard, meow. Having received Sejun's approval, Theo was completely over the moon. He lifted his head and looked at Kyungi and Piat with a smug expression. You guys are way behind me, meow. Pew Hut. This is what it means to be a vice chairman, meow. However, neither Kyungi nor Piat paid any attention to Theo's gaze. Krung. Daddy Kyungi is hungry. Especially Kyungi, who was only upset that the grilled fish was getting cold. All right, just wait a moment. Sejun grabbed a kudzu root infused with overflowing magic power and squeezed it tightly, sprinkling lime-scented kudzu juice on the grilled fish. As he sprinkled lime-scented kudzu juice on the grilled fish, grilled piranha with lime-scented kudzu juice is completed. Your proficiency of cooking LV8 has slightly increased. The effect of cooking LV8 is applied. The effect applies as much as the overabundant magic power kudzu root is consumed. Messages appeared. The effect applies as much as it's consumed. Among them, there was a message Sejun saw for the first time. With Sejun's cooking skill reaching level 8, the effect now applied proportionally to the amount of each ingredient consumed, even if not eaten completely. Nice, let's eat, everyone. Pew Hut, I will enjoy this meal, meow. Kyung. It looks delicious. Following Sejun's cue, Theo and Kyungi rushed towards the grilled fish. However, meow, Chairman Park, what did you do to the grilled fish, meow? It smells weird, meow. Kyung. It's so delicious. Their reactions were completely opposite due to the lime flavor. Theo disliked the lime flavor. Chairman Park, I can't eat this, meow. Please make the grilled fish again, meow. Theo whined about the lime-flavored grilled fish he couldn't eat. Just eat it, all right. Reluctantly, Sejun peeled off the lime-flavored fish skin and only served the flesh. Then, since Chairman Park prepared it, I'll eat it as something special, meow. Theo ate the grilled fish while tolerating the faint scent of lime. Although he disliked the lime flavor, he enjoyed that Sejun prepared the fish flesh for him. Pew Hut, I'm eating it because of Chairman Park's dedication, meow. While Theo was enjoying the fish flesh prepared by Sejun. Swoosh. Kyungi also started sneakily eating the fish flesh prepared by Sejun, setting aside the grilled fish he was eating. The fish flesh quickly disappeared, as Sejun diligently prepared it to prevent the two from fighting. While Sejun was busily preparing the fish flesh. Is this the secret to being ranked number 1? Does preparing fish flesh increase one's rank? Piat observed Sejun and learned a new method of ranking hierarchy. Then, monkeys enter the kitchen to eat dinner. Pio. Hello, I am Purururu Yatra from the white-headed long-tailed tit tribe. Piat earnestly greeted the monkeys. The teacher said that just by greeting well, you can be loved. After exchanging greetings with the monkeys, Piat also grabbed a grilled fish and began to prepare the flesh using its feet and beak. 4th floor of the tower. Drip, drip. 10 beginner hunters were busily harvesting grapes in the vineyard. This is more fun than I thought. Exactly. The hunters' expressions had brightened compared to the beginning. They weren't assigned any difficult tasks, and they were given breaks in between. This isn't the time to be happy. Surely they'll just make us work until we die. Mendel said with a frightened expression. Then, stop now. The black skeletons approached them and spoke. Are they really going to kill us? The hunters tensed up when. This is the payment for your work so far. The black skeletons handed the hunters 10 bags filled with grapes. Payment? Yes, if you're thinking of working again, come back. Follow them, and outside the vineyard you'll get your weapons back. The black skeleton said this and left. Come back if we're thinking of working again. The hunters were stunned by the black skeleton's words. Is this a trick to let our guard down before killing us? Suspicious, the hunters followed the black skeletons when. Clatter. The black skeletons truly returned their weapons and then left for the vineyard. What? Let's hurry and go. What if they change their minds and come after us? Yeah, let's head back for now. Thus the hunters returned to Earth, arms full of vitality-infused fragrant grapes. If I get them to eat the fish flesh I've prepared, they'll become my subordinates, so I should create more subordinates to increase my rank. Piat was diligently applying seasoning to the grilled fish to increase its rank. However, Pio, why isn't anyone eating what I've prepared? Since Piat had almost crushed the fish flesh to a powder, nobody wanted to touch it. For the tiny Piat, it was a manageable size, but not for the other animals. Pio. Raising my rank isn't as easy as I thought. I'll have to practice diligently from now on. Piat was determined to improve its skill in preparing fish flesh. If only Piat's teachers had told it to simply ask when curious. Thanks to that, Piat's beak and feet became shiny with an oil coating. Pio. Hee, but this is actually quite tasty. On the bright side, Piat discovered the taste of grilled fish. However, the amount of grilled fish powder Piat ate was very minimal. Piat, are you playing with your food? Pio. That wasn't my intention, I'm sorry. Piat got scolded by Sejun for the remaining fish powder. 10 minutes later. Pirorong. Piat fell asleep to Sejun's scolding, using it as a lullaby. Asleep already? Were you that tired? Sejun carefully picked up Piat with both hands and exited the kitchen. Chairman Park, let's go together, meow. As Sejun stood up, Theo quickly grabbed a piece of fish flesh with its mouth and clung to Sejun's leg. Thus, Sejun and Theo headed to the bedroom. Swoosh! Inside the wooden box house previously used by the Black Rabbit, Sejun laid down some straw and gently placed Piat on top. Then, leaving the bedroom, he headed back to the kitchen as Kyungi's meal was not yet finished. Thus, Theo clung to Sejun's leg as they returned to the kitchen. Lick. Theo, clinging to Sejun's leg, finished eating the fish flesh and started cleaning the oil off its front paws. Meow, this unpleasant stuff got on my front paws too, meow. Lick. As Theo was annoyed and diligently licked its paws to remove the lime scent. Wung. A soft silver light emanated from Theo's body. Meow, Chairman Park, I just awakened a talent, meow. Talent? Just like that, unexpectedly. Consumption may rarely lead to the awakening of absorption-related talents. Sejun recalled the information written on the overabundant magic power kudzu root. But considering the amount Theo ate was less than 1/10,000th of a kudzu, the already low chance was astronomically lower. That's impossible. Against such dreadful odds, Theo awakened a talent, truly a lucky cat. Lucky guy, so what talent is it? Sejun, envious of Theo's luck, asked in a languid voice, why do I feel so drained? Did I overdo it today? It's a talent called Energy Drain, meow. Energy Drain. That's right, meow. I can absorb energy from surroundings to become stronger. Absorbing energy from surroundings, I see. Hey, get off. Sejun tried to shake off Theo, realizing the reason for his lethargy was Theo's new talent, Energy Drain, which was sapping his energy. Meow, I don't want to meow. As Sejun attempted to remove Theo from his leg, Theo clung to him like a leech. Hey, get off, you're draining my energy. Thud. Sejun collapsed while speaking. Meow, is it because of me, meow? Chairman Park snap out of it, meow. Then Theo quickly controlled its talent and slap slap began slapping Sejun's face, using a healing spell. Chairman Park, wake up, meow. Slap slap. Theo was giving trouble and then providing the remedy. Thanks to Theo, Sejun was able to go to bed early and woke up feeling refreshed the next day. Chapter 269, Drawing the Good Stuff. Day 359 of being stranded, dawn. K-a-ra-ra-rar. Gorarung. The sound of Park Sejun and Theo snoring filled the bedroom. Pio. I don't understand. Piat, who went to bed early yesterday and woke up early, was deep in thought while looking at Park Sejun sleeping soundly. After much contemplation, it seemed to Piat that being good at preparing fish meat did not make one the top in the hierarchy. Pyong Pio. Ugh, then how is the hierarchy determined? Faced with a difficult question it couldn't understand, Piat had a headache. So, to cool off its head, Piat went outside to look around the farm. Pio Pio. Oh, the farm is huge. Piat, who hadn't had the chance to properly explore the farm yesterday due to a lack of peace of mind, admired the vastness of the farm. Flap flap. As Piat was diligently flapping its wings to tour around the farm. Flap flap. Pio. It's so refreshing. After touring the farm, it took a refreshing bath at the fountain, wetting its body. And then, chug. Pio. I'm the highest up here. While Piat was drying off its fur, feeling good about looking down from atop the head of a black dragon statue in the center of the fountain. How dare you climb on my head? The eyes of the black dragon statue started to glow and move. Pio. Flap flap. Startled, Piat hurriedly flapped its wings and landed on the balustrade of the fountain. Guo. What are you doing here? Kaiser gathered his energy and asked. Pai Picug. I am Hick. Piat, too startled by Kaiser's immense intimidating presence, started hiccuping. What are you doing? I asked. Can't you speak? Kaiser bellowed at the suspicious intruder. Could it be an assassin targeting our Sejun? Pai. Piat was even more frightened by Kaiser's roar. Kugokun. Kaiser gathered more energy. If it was indeed an assassin, he planned to eliminate them instantly to prevent any danger to Sejun. As the intimidation grew stronger. Pai. Piat wanted to answer somehow, but fear had frozen his body, making it impossible for Piat to open its mouth. Then, Kaiser Nim, please calm down. That child is Piat brought by Theo. Thanks to Theo, Park Sejun, who had also gone to bed early and woken up early like Piat, hurried out to the noise and answered on behalf of Piat. Kahaha, if Theo brought him, then you should have said so. Why keep your mouth shut? I almost killed you. Kaiser, slightly embarrassed by Sejun's appearance, laughed heartily. Pio. Piat was terrified by Kaiser's casual mention of killing. This place is scary. Flap flap. Piat flew quickly towards Sejun. The only one who can protect me here is Sejun tilde Nim. It's no wonder he's the top of the hierarchy. Were you scared? Sejun asked Piat in a warm voice, extending his hand. Pio Pio. Yes, I was so scared. Piat sat on Sejun's finger, vigorously rubbing its head against his as it replied. And then, he's got guts. Piat realized why Sejun was the top of the hierarchy. Despite being weaker, enduring such immense intimidation, and talking casually with such a terrifying being was something ordinary guts couldn't achieve. It was a hidden talent of Sejun, specialized towards enduring numerous amounts of energy until passing out. Of course, even so, enduring the energy Kaiser deliberately gathered was absolutely impossible with Sejun's abilities. Theo, that guy, has learned something strange again. The more I see, the more fascinating it is. Meow. Theo, while asleep, used his talent, energy drained to absorb only Kaiser's energy, allowing Sejun to be comfortable. I'm going to develop guts like Sejun Nim too. Naturally, Piat, unaware of this fact, looked up to Sejun with admiration and began to make another strange misconception on his own. Christie's auction house in the USA. So this is an agricultural product item brought out from the tower. Yes, and it's from the crops grown by tower farmer Park Sejun. Yes, the people answering the auctioneer's questions were hunters who had received grapes as payment from a black skeleton on the fourth floor of the tower. They had run frantically towards the waypoint on the fourth floor, and only after reaching the first floor did they check the options of the grapes. And then, the grower of these grapes is Park Sejun. Upon confirming the name, tower farmer Park Sejun, as the grower of the grapes. Oh my God! We're rich now! They embraced each other and cheered. The popularity of Sejun's crops on Earth was tremendous right now. Due to their popularity, Sejun's crops were mostly being sold at high prices in auction houses these days. Of course, the effects of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes were somewhat ambiguous, but these were Sejun's crops that had never been sold before. Just the fact that they were grown by Sejun made it highly likely they would sell for a high price. That's how they ended up at Christie's auction house, to sell the vitality-infused fragrant grapes. A few hours later. Yes, a bunch of vitality-infused fragrant grapes grown by tower farmer Park Sejun has been sold for $100,000. The auction started, and they made a total profit of $10 billion. Divided by 10 people, that's $1 billion each. Considering they had worked for about 10 hours at the grape farm, they had done work worth $100 million per hour. Listen, everyone, for the time being only we should know where we got the grapes. Got it? Of course, let's keep it among ourselves. Good, then let's meet at the tower entrance in 3 hours. Got it. When the 10 novice hunters had finished discussing to meet in 3 hours and go to the grape farm. We got Park Sejun's crops, we're rich now. SHH, quiet, someone might hear us. 5 hunters, holding a sack similar to the one they received from the black skeleton, passed by them and entered the auction house. The fragrant grapes sent wafting from the sack. It was the smell of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes. We weren't the only ones working there. The novice hunters were shocked. Upon reflection, it was obvious. They wouldn't have been the only ones to pass through there. As other hunters who worked at the grape farm sold their grapes, the market price for grapes could only decrease. No rest, we're heading to the tower right now. Got it. The hunters hurried off to the grape farm. Clicking. Park Sejun opened the golden box of abundance stored in the void storage, took out 2 black beans like yesterday. Clicking. And closed the box again. Now there are 4. Sejun said, looking at the 4 black beans carefully placed next to the golden box of abundance. Tomorrow, there would be 6 black beans. Clang. Having obtained the black beans, Sejun closed the door of the void storage and came outside. And then, Piat, can you give me some egg fruits? Here, have some peanuts. Pio. Yes, here you go. Upon receiving a handful of peanuts from Sejun, Piat gave him 100 egg fruits. Is it okay to give me so many? Pio. Yes, there are lots at home. Piat said, spreading its wings as wide as possible. But since they were smaller than the span of Sejun's hand, it was slightly ambiguous whether there were really a lot. Hell, that many? Still, thinking there would be more than 100, Sejun asked with a smile. Pio. Yes, everyone hates egg fruits, so unless they go out like me, no one eats them. A lot of them are thrown away. Piat chattered excitedly, happy to have gotten a lot of peanuts. Just as Piat said, the birds did not like egg fruits. Leaving the fruits grown on the mother tree, as they are, would lead to them rotting and emitting a foul smell, making egg fruits a troublesome fruit for the birds to deal with. You're throwing this away. So I can take them all. Piat, then bring a lot next time. I'll buy them all. Pio. Yes, here's an advance. Sejun made about 10 peanut pouches, each capable of holding a handful of peanuts, and handed them to Piat. They were sized to match the maximum load of Piat's bag. Pio Pio. Thank you, I'll bring them all. Piat, with its bag full of peanuts, happily responded. All right, then take a rest. Hehe, I should have omelets for breakfast this morning. Holding the egg fruits, Sejun hummed a tune on his way to the kitchen. Upon arriving at the kitchen, tab tab, Sejun placed the contents of 50 egg fruits into a bowl and added water. Then, chop chop chop. He vigorously stirred with chopsticks until the egg mixture lost its viscosity, turning into a pale yellow as the yolks and whites mixed. Additionally, chop chop chop. He chopped green onions and carrots to add in, along with some salt for seasoning. Next, sizzle. He poured the egg mixture into a preheated frying pan in a thin layer just enough to cover the bottom of the pan, and when the eggs were cooked to a certain extent, he started to roll them up with chopsticks. Sizzle. Sejun poured more egg mixture onto the end of the omelet and continued to extend it by rolling it up. While Sejun was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, Pio Pio. I'll grow guts like Sejun Nim and become the right-hand man of Theo tilde Nim. Then I'll be the right-hand man to Sejun Nim's right-hand man. Piat imagined itself sitting on Theo's right front paw, which was hanging on Sejun's right leg. PFFFT. How cool. And then, peg peck. Piat pecked at the red dragon's full-body scale armor set up in front of the creator's tablet as part of its special training. Because it gave off a feeling similar to the intimidation it had received earlier from Kaiser. At that moment, Krung. Piat, are you messing with Dad's toy? Kyungi, who was sluggishly walking towards Sejun, spotted Piat attacking the red dragon's full-body scale armor. Pio? No. Piat answered while glaring at Kyungi with determination. I'll suppress you with my gaze. I'll show you the result of my training. But its enthusiasm was too much from the start. Kyungi was Sejun's left-hand man. He had picked too strong an opponent. Krung. Piat, your gaze was impure again. Pio Pio. Me, absolutely not. Kyungi, on the verge of becoming a fierce beast due to hunger, slightly narrowed his eyes, and Piat, overwhelmed in an instant, quickly removed the intensity from its gaze. And then, petting Pio. He ain't it so scary here. Piat hurriedly flew to the kitchen where Sejun was. Piat had been getting into trouble and getting knocked about since the morning. Shortly after, guys, let's eat breakfast. Sejun called the animals over. Here, let's eat one each. Sejun distributed an egg roll to each of the animals. And a particularly thick egg roll made with 20 egg fruits for Kyungi. Kyungi will eat well. As Kyungi took a bite from one of the 10 slices of the egg roll. Nayam. Sejun hurriedly put a slice of the egg roll in his mouth as well. Delicious. Thanks to the vigorous stirring, the egg roll crumbled softly like fluffy bread. Crunch crunch. With the scallions and carrots providing a nice texture and sweetness. After having breakfast, Kyungi will go tend to the herbs. Kyungi, having packed a lunchbox in his snack pouch, left. Slurp. While Sejun enjoyed a brief moment of leisure, sipping his morning coffee. Bitter. Of course, the taste of the coffee was very bitter today as well. You have consumed a bitter-tasting medicine. Talent, a medicine that's bitter is good for stamina, has been activated. Stamina increased by 2. Less bitter than yesterday, which was somewhat comforting. Let's work hard today as well. As Sejun got up after drinking his coffee. Hut Piat, do you want to become my right-hand man, meow? Pio Pio. Yes, I want to be your right-hand man, Theonim. If you want to be my right-hand man, you need to work hard, meow. Pio Pio. Yes, I'll work hard, just tell me what to do. Hut, then follow me, meow. Pio Pio. Yes, let's go. Flap, flap. Piat flapping its wings, flying on Theo's right sight. Piyut, I'm the next right front paw. Piyo. But where are we going? Pew Hut, we're going to the 75th floor of the tower, meow. Chairman Park will be back, meow. All right, bring back something good. Pew Hut, just trust me, meow. Theo greeted Sejun and went with Piat to do some drawing on the 75th floor of the tower. Chapter 270, All I Need Is This Dish and You. U.S. Naval Command Operations Room. So this means these are the grapes brought from the tower by the hunters. Chief of Naval Operations, Samuel Harrison, examined the grapes brought in by the operations officer. Yes, they are precisely called vitality-infused fragrant grapes. Right, they do smell good as the name suggests, but why did we bring them here? Samuel Nim, please look here. This is the detailed description of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes. Since ordinary people cannot see item descriptions, the operations room displayed the detailed description confirmed by the hunter on the monitor. Vitality-infused fragrant grapes. The scent of fragrant grapes can attract monsters that like the smell of blood. The scent spreads even further when made into wine. Cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Shelf life 90 days. Grade C. Current market price 50,000 tilde $60,000. The current market price of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes was also listed, showing that the price had significantly dropped from the initial amount as hunters continued to sell the grapes they farmed. Oh ho, it can attract monsters that like the smell of blood. Samuel exclaimed in a pleased voice upon reading the detailed description of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes on the monitor. If the description was accurate, it might provide a clue to eradicate the leeches occupying Hawaii. Currently, the Navy was constantly pouring vast amounts of livestock blood in Hawaii to prevent the giant leeches from moving towards the mainland, but the situation was worsening. The number of leeches was increasing as they fed on the blood, leading to an increase in the amount of blood being dropped over Hawaii. Thus, the Navy was desperately searching for a way to reduce the number of giant leeches. Chief of Naval Operations, I think it's worth a try. The operations staff cautiously suggested to Chief of Naval Operations Samuel Harrison to consider using the vitality-infused fragrant grapes in their strategy. Even other crops cultivated by Sejun, like the sturdy blade green onions, did not specifically mention that they could kill locusts anywhere in their description. Yet, sturdy blade green onions have become an indispensable crop in saving the earth from locusts. All right, let's secure about 1 ton of the vitality-infused fragrant grapes for a simple test. Can we contact Park Sejun, listed here as the cultivator, to purchase in bulk and negotiate the price? Given the high cost of the operation, Samuel wished to meet with Sejun to negotiate a lower price. Well, that's... The operations officer appeared troubled by Samuel's question. Currently, almost no information was available about Sejun. Recently, reliable individuals Han Tae-jun and Kim Dong-sik had distributed information about Sejun to various countries, but Park Sejun is too strong to approach within 5 km. The information seemed too absurd to take at face value. Han Tae-jun and Kim Dong-sik had informed all countries of Sejun's strength as it is, before undergoing special training to prevent any disaster from happening when Sejun left the tower. However, intelligence agencies worldwide deemed their information excessively exaggerated and did not trust it. Thus, Han Tae-jun and Kim Dong-sik's efforts ended in vain. First, secure the vitality-infused fragrant grapes and see where the hunters got them from. Then we'll have something. Yes. Following Samuel's orders, the operations staff proceeded to secure the vitality-infused fragrant grapes and locate Sejun simultaneously. Lunch without Theo or Kyungi. Choo-choo. Sejun was having a relaxed lunch, eating blue kudzu root of potential. You have consumed blue kudzu root of potential. All stats potential increases by 5. after finishing all 20 pieces of the blue kudzu root of potential. I'm full vitality. You have used vitality LV 4. The food in your stomach is digested quickly. All stats increase by 4% for 90 minutes. Sejun used his vitality skill to digest the food. Thanks to using it whenever possible, the skill level had increased by 2 levels, reaching level 4. With his stomach now empty. Finally, the last one. Yum. Sejun put a piece of Aileen's healthy meatball in his mouth. And then, you have consumed Aileen's healthy meatball piece. You have consumed all 100 pieces of Aileen's healthy meatball. All stats increase by 100. The awaited message appeared. Heh done. Sejun was overjoyed as a sudden surge of strength filled his body. At that moment, the tower's administrator is happy that you have finally finished eating their cooking. Aileen spoke up. Yeah, I've finished it all. Thanks to you, I think I've become stronger. Sejun spoke with a swell of pride, feeling the increase in his strength. However, the tower's administrator says that in her opinion, you still have a long way to go. I know that, but still, did you have to say it so directly? Sejun was disheartened by Aileen's blunt truth bomb. The tower's administrator says you don't need to worry. The tower's administrator says she have already prepared food that will make you stronger. Ah, you made more food. Why go through all that trouble? Sejun tried to act as though he wasn't panicked. I wasn't worried. I was just going to live protected by Theo and Kyungi. The tower's administrator says she find cooking fun, so you don't have to worry about her going through trouble. Ugh. Sorry, Aileen. Actually, I'm worried about eating your cooking. As Sejun trembled with anxiety about what kind of tremendous dish Aileen had made this time. Jingle. A leather pouch fell into Sejun's palm. The tower's administrator says she overlooked the fact that you couldn't eat much at once last time, so this time she divided it into 500 pieces for your convenience. 500 pieces. I don't ask for much, just let it be like last time, Sejun fervently prayed as he opened the leather pouch. Jingle. Inside the leather pouch were uniformly sized black round meat pieces. Good. It's the same black color as last time. Sejun felt relieved seeing the color and shape were no different from before. Pick. He picked up one piece of meat to examine. Phew. Fortunately, there were no dangerous or strange descriptions. Like before, eating just one filled him up, and the effect only manifested after eating all the pieces. The only difference was that this time, he had to eat all 500 pieces for his stats to increase by 300. Aileen, thank you. Sejun expressed his gratitude to Aileen, who had made a normal dish with a touched voice. The tower's administrator says she feel rewarded for cooking since you're so moved. The tower's administrator says she will make a completely new dish for you next time. No, it's okay. All I need is this dish and you. Sejun desperately emphasized that a new dish was not needed, but Aileen had already left to cook, giving no response. Theo and Piot descended the tower. Meow meow meow. Pio pio. Piot added harmonies to Theo's humming, flapping its wings 10 times with each of Theo's steps, matching the pace of Theo's footsteps. Then, Pio. As Piot passed the 79th floor of the tower, it felt something strange, as if it had forgotten something. Pio? Pio, what's wrong, meow? Theo asked when Piot suddenly stopped singing. Pio? Ah, I just remembered, the 79th floor is my homeland. Piot, still forgetting its mission, as a messenger bird. Pew hut, is that so, meow? My homeland is on the 75th floor, Grainier Village. As the conversation turned to homelands, Theo started moving again after sharing about his own, and they simply passed the 79th floor. Upon arriving at the 75th floor, Piot, follow me, meow. Piot? Yes. Theo led Piot to Taru, who was guarding the lost and found warehouse. Theo, long time no see. Taru, nice to see you, meow. But who's that friend behind you? Taru asked, noticing Piat who was peeking out from behind Theo. Pio? I am Piat of the white-headed long-tailed tit tribe, destined to become Theo Nim's right front paw one. Piat answered proudly. That's a good ambition. Theo, you came to do a draw, right? That's right, Meow. Here, take these 2,000 tower coins, Meow. Theo handed Taru the drawing fee for himself and Piat. Then, I'll wait here, bring them out one by one. Got it, Meow. Theo, accompanied by Piat, entered the ghost warehouse. As Theo entered the ghost warehouse, Theo tilde Nim, have you arrived? The ghosts in the warehouse welcomed Theo. Have perfectly cleaned up the place, using the one you sent us. The items that were once piled up like a mountain on the floor were now neatly organized on shelves and in cabinets. Thanks to that, Peyton was currently enjoying a well-deserved vacation. Good work, Meow. Piat, get to work, Meow. Pio Pio. Yes, but what should I do? Piat asked, tilting its head after answering energetically. Bring the thing that attracts you the most, Meow. Pio. Yes. Flap flap. While Piat busily flew around the warehouse searching for the item that attracted it, following Theo's instruction. Pew hut, this attracts me the most, Meow. Theo picked up a book right in front of him and put it into his bundle. And Gorarung. Theo took a quick nap, while Piat was still diligently choosing items. After a while, Meow. Theo woke up to find a massive pile of garbage blocking his view. Then, Pio Pio. Theo tilde Nim, you're awake. I brought everything that attracted me. Piat proudly showed Theo the items it had gathered. The massive pile of trash was Piat's doing. Of course, none of the items were any good. Piat was incredibly unlucky with its choices. Piat has no talent for drawing, Meow. Theo decided not to let Piat do any more draws in the future. Bring that one with you, Meow. Theo reluctantly had Piat carry one of the items he was attracted to. And need to clean up again. Call the youngest. Peyton, who had been enjoying a rare vacation, was called back by the ghosts to reorganize the warehouse. Meow meow meow. Pio Pio. Theo and Piat, oblivious to having interrupted Peyton's vacation, happily hummed tunes as they ascended the tower again. Pew hut. Since Piat's home is on the 79th floor of the tower, let's stop by on the way and pick up some fried eggs that Chairman Park likes, Meow. Since the items they got from the ghost warehouse drawing were the ones with weaker attraction, Theo decided to also pick up some egg fruit to earn more praise from Sejun. Pew hut, look, Chairman Park, Meow. I Vice Chairman Theo am working overtime today too, Meow. Pio Pio. Yes, just follow me. Piat led the way, guiding Theo to the kingdom of Kav on the 79th floor of the tower. Upon arriving in Ave, the capital of Kav, to collect egg fruit, the messenger bird Pururura Yacht has brought someone to heal the mother tree. A parrot guarding the entrance shouted loudly enough for all the birds to hear. Meow, a messenger bird. Pio Pio. Right, I was a messenger bird. Piat finally remembered its mission. What's a messenger bird, Meow? Pio. A messenger bird is meant to heal the mother tree. While Piat explained the mission of a messenger bird it had learned. Caw, chirp, coo. Birds began to gather around them one by one. Then, thud. A giant eagle whose wingspan was about 10 meters wide descended from the sky. It was Louis, the king of the birds. Welcome. Since you've heard the explanation from the messenger bird Pururura Yacht, I will guide you to the mother tree. Pew hut, let's go, Meow. Having somewhat grasped the situation after listening to Piat's explanation, Theo quickly climbed onto Louis's back. Pew hut, I'll heal the mother tree with my healing magic, Meow. And in return, Pew hut, I feel a strong attraction over there, Meow. While Theo laughed, looking at the rainbow-colored castle atop the mountain in the center of the capital. Pio Pio. I need to grow quickly to carry Theo tilde nim. I'll have to double my food intake from now on. Piat, regretting not being able to carry Theo on its back, was unaware that it had already grown up. Then let's depart. Flap, flap. Louis took off with Theo on his back, heading towards the mother tree. TL notes: I have used right-hand man in the because it fits better, but in the original, it's used as right front paw as Theo has paws, according to Piat. However, it's normally used when Theo mentions being the right-hand man of Sejun.